After the divorce, my daughter and I set up a stall on the street, while my ex-wife lived a wealthy life. Since then, I have lived a simple life with my daughter Noonyo. My life seems to have been reset. From the suit and tie I once wore to the snack vendor I am now, every step has been extremely difficult. Until one day, my daughter brought the snacks I made for her to my ex-wife's hotel, and they immediately attracted the favor of countless diners. Just when I was gradually getting back into the rhythm of my life, my ex-wife Chow Fei called me and asked for help, hoping that I could help her get through the hotel's difficulties. My success. Her parents also started to work on our reunion. Faced with this unexpected opportunity, I replied coldly, "If you want crystal cakes, come to my stall and pick them up. One box costs 25 yuan, and 6 boxes cost 150 yuan." What was once an emotional entanglement has now turned into a business transaction. Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you like this story, please let me know in the comments section. I will update the part 3. Every morning, I get up early and prepare breakfast for Nono. She always eats happily, with a satisfied smile on her face. "Dad, please come pick me up in advance." Noonyo reminded me sweetly. Every time I hear her voice, I always feel that everything is worth it. Seeing her carrying the crystal cake and getting into the car with a satisfied look on her face, I smiled and waved goodbye. But I felt a little complicated. She wanted to see her mother and grandparents, which was her right, and I couldn't stop her. After Nua obediently got into the car and waved goodbye to me, I looked at the Porsche going away with mixed feelings. Although her mother lives a glamorous life, it is her right to see her daughter once a month, and I cannot stop her. Back in the yard, I started to organize the supplies for today's stall, including braised pork buns, green bean shaved ice, and even the new product I just developed, crystal cake. I specially made a limited number of the new crystal cakes. They are exquisite and translucent, and the taste is naturally good. I hope that the customers will be satisfied. Pushing the modified electric tricycle, I came to the alley in front of the primary school again. This street has a large flow of people, which is an ideal location for me to set up a stall. As soon as the stall was set up, old customers who had eaten there yesterday gathered around, all with anticipation on their faces. "Boss, your braised pork buns are absolutely amazing. I've been waiting for a long time today," said the first customer excitedly. I smiled, opened the steamer swiftly, handed over the hot braised pork bun, and took out the mung bean shaved ice from the insulated box. The customer couldn't wait to take a bite and immediately showed a satisfied expression on his face. "It still tastes the same, boss. You are amazing." At this time, another customer was attracted by the crystal cake on the stall and pointed at it and asked curiously, "Boss, what is this?" "New crystal cake, limited to 2 boxes per person, 25 yuan a box." I replied calmly, showing him a box. Through the transparent packaging, the crystal cake inside exudes a slight luster, crystal clear, and looks like a work of art. "Boss, this looks really good. Does it taste good too?" The customer hesitated for a moment, then picked up the box and examined it carefully. "Don't worry, the taste is definitely as good as my other things," I said confidently. Sure enough, the customer couldn't resist the temptation and bought 2 boxes on the spot. The people watching nearby also couldn't help themselves and started asking for more. "Boss, I want 2 boxes too. Give me a box to try too." In less than half an hour, the crystal cakes I brought were sold out, and the braised pork buns and mung bean shaved ice were almost sold out as well. Looking at the payment reminder sound and the satisfied smiles of customers, I feel a sense of accomplishment. As long as his fame spreads, it will be easier for him to set up the stall every day. This way I can have more time to play with the little one. Chapter 53. I'm busy in this alley every day, but I didn't expect the line in front of the stall to get longer and longer each time. Looking at the customers lining up at the entrance of the alley, I felt a complex sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. In particular, the crispy fried pork buns, the refreshing green bean shaved ice, and the recently launched crystal cakes are all loved by the neighbors. "Boss, do you still have fried beef noodles?" the customer in front of the line asked hurriedly. "I'm sorry." I wiped the sweat off my forehead and replied with a hint of apology, "Today's fried beef noodles are sold out." Hearing this, the few people who had just arrived sighed in disappointment. "It's gone so soon? Do you still have the crystal cake?" Their eyes were fixed on the boxes of crystal cakes on the stall, as if they were their last straw. "We want all of these." I shook my head helplessly. "These crystal cakes have been reserved. Now we only have braised pork buns and green bean shaved ice left." "Reservation? I shouldn't have slept in." They slapped their thighs in regret, feeling annoyed that they were a step late. At this time, Uncle Zhang led a few neighbors to rush over. He was an old resident of this area and was known to everyone as a warm-hearted person. He smiled and said, "Xiao Su, are these crystal cakes left for us?" The crowd immediately went wild. "Uncle Zhang, the purchase limit for crystal cakes is 2 boxes. You can't buy them all." Uncle Zhang said confidently, "I am doing this for everyone's good. Buy it back and share it with everyone." "You can't be so shameless," someone muttered. I quickly waved my hand and smiled to mediate. "Don't argue. There are exactly 8 boxes here, 1 box for each person, so that everyone can have something to eat." The crowd finally calmed down. Uncle Zhang took the crystal cake and couldn't wait to take a bite. He was stunned for a moment. "Xiao Su, your cooking skills are amazing." He was reluctant to stop talking. After hearing Uncle Zhang's comments, other neighbors also opened the box and tasted it. After taking a bite, the cool, delicate, and sweet taste exploded in their mouths. They all exclaimed, "Oh my God, this is much better than the desserts in the cake shop." Such an exquisite crystal cake only costs $25? It would cost at least $50 in a cake shop. Everyone was talking about it, and the praises were endless. I stood behind the stall, watching all this, feeling full of pride. From being forced to leave home to regaining my footing with my craft, all the hard work along the way seemed to be worth it. But Uncle Zhang stared at me with a meaningful look in his eyes. "Xiao Su, it would be a shame if I didn't find someone to introduce you to such a good skill." At the same time, Nuo, who was far away in a high-end hotel, was sitting on the sofa board with a puffy face and a bit of dissatisfaction. "Why hasn't Mom come yet?" Nuo muttered, curling her lips. "I might as well go set up a stall with Dad." Secretary Xiaoyao was sitting next to her. Seeing this, she gently advised her. "Xiao Nuo, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? Sister will get you something delicious." Nuo shook his head, his tone full of disdain. "These things are not delicious, Status. Cooking is the best." Xiaoyao was amused by her words and couldn't help but sigh softly. This child is a foodie at such a young age. At this moment, Nono's mother Xiao Feifei was walking into the conference room with a group of executives. She was so busy that she didn't notice her daughter's loss at all. Nuo looked down at the tablet in his hand and spoke in a low voice as if to himself. "Dad is still the best. He accompanies me every day." Chapter 54. "Nono, do you want to eat something first?" Xiaoya asked tentatively, pointing at the table full of macarons, tiramisu cakes, and various cut fruits. Nuo shook her head. "I don't like eating these. You eat them, Sister Xiaoya." This made Xiaoya look confused, because these were limited editions specially made by the hotel chef, and others had to queue up to buy them. "You really don't want to eat it?" Xiaoya tentatively picked up a macaron and took a bite. It was rich in milk flavor and melted in the mouth. It was so delicious. No, this is really delicious." However, facing the desserts that Xiaoya praised, Nuo still shook his head. "These are not delicious. My Dadis is the best." Xiaoya was stunned and couldn't help laughing. Can what Dad cooks be better than what the chef of a 5-star hotel cooks? She was obviously a little unconvinced. "You have never eaten what your father cooked, so you think these are delicious." No, said seriously, with a regretful expression, as if Xiaoya had missed out on some of the best things in life. "By the way, where are the crystal cakes I brought?" Nuo suddenly remembered the several boxes of cakes that Su Yang specially prepared and asked excitedly. "I put it aside," Xiaoya replied, and took out the package to take a look. She found that they really looked like they were bought from a roadside stall. The packaging was simple and inconspicuous. Xiaoya couldn't help but complain in her heart. Su Yang just gave a few boxes of cakes to old man Xiao and old lady Xiao. Isn't this just looking for trouble? However, in order not to embarrass Su Yang, Xiaoya planned to secretly hide these cakes and eat them slowly at home. However, Nuo said expectantly, "Sister Xiaoya, when you taste Dada's crystal cake, you will know that the desserts in 5-star hotels cannot be compared at all." Xiaoya didn't say anything after hearing this, but she was full of doubts in her heart. Is it really that magical? It can't be that serious, right? Chapter 55. However, when Nuo opened the box, Xiaoya was stunned. The crystal-clear pastries exuded a faint fragrance, so exquisite that people could not take their eyes away. Did Su Yang really make this? Xiaoya was a little unconvinced and couldn't help but get closer to smell it. The fragrance even overshadowed the tiramisu in a 5-star hotel. "Of course it was made by my dad. His food is the best," Nuo announced proudly, and then couldn't wait to bite off a piece of the crystal cake. The soft, glutinous, and chewy texture, with a hint of rice and osmanthus fragrance, made Nuonuo so happy while eating it that she couldn't stop eating. Xiaoya swallowed her saliva greedily and finally couldn't help asking, "No, no, can I have a taste?" "But, Sister Xiaoya, don't you think the cake tastes better?" Nuonua asked seriously, leaving Xiaoya speechless for a moment. In order to have a piece, Xiaoya quickly apologized. "I'm sorry. I think your father's cooking is the most delicious now." Hearing her say this, Nuonua finally handed over a piece with satisfaction. "Okay, then I'll give you a piece." Xiaoya couldn't wait to take a bite, and the sweet taste instantly bloomed on the tip of her tongue. The crystal cake was as soft and delicate as a veil, gently covering her taste buds. The rich aroma of rice and osmanthus interweaves into a wonderful taste experience, sweet but not greasy, as if you were savoring a warm moment. Xiaoya was completely convinced. It turned out that Su Yang's cakes were truly the best in the world. There was no comparison with the cakes made by five-star chefs. Chapter 56. The crystal cake I made was so delicious that Xiaoya almost cried. Although it was simply packaged and looked like something from a roadside stall, it tasted far better than the chefs in five-star hotels. "Nunuo, this crystal cake is so delicious. Can you give me another piece?" Xiaoya couldn't help but ask coquettishly. Nuonuo protected the box in his hand and said seriously, "No, these are made by my dad especially for me. Sister, just eat the cake." Xiaoya was unwilling to give up and tried to persuade her softly. "No, no, my dear, good children should know how to share. Give me another half piece, and I'll take you to catch Pikachu." Hearing the words "catch the doll," Noah obviously hesitated for a moment and finally gritted his teeth and compromised. "Then half a piece, just half a piece." Xiaoya took the half piece of crystal cake and carefully put it in her mouth as if it were a rare treasure. The soft, chewy texture, mixed with the fragrance of rice and osmanthus, completely captivated her. With this taste, the tiramisu made by a five-star chef is nothing compared to it. Xiaoya thought to herself, trying hard not to look at the remaining crystal cake in Nunua's box. At the same time, she secretly made up her mind that she must meet me if she had the chance. At this moment, Xiao Feifei came out of the office with a tired look on her face. She sat next to Nuonuo and asked softly, "Nuonuo, what did you eat just now?" "Crystal cake. My dad made it. It's delicious." Nuonuo handed over the plastic bag with a smile. Xiao Feifei glanced at the cheap packaging and her face changed slightly. She remembered the days when I used to pack food in plastic bags and couldn't help but frown. Could this cake be bought from a roadside stall? I don't know how many pigments and additives are added to it. How can I give it to Nuonuo? Noah hurriedly shook his head and defended himself as if protecting a treasure. "This is really made by Dad, Mom. You will know when you try it." Xiao Feifei opened the package hesitantly. As soon as she got close, the aroma of the crystal cake hit her nose. It was even richer than the desserts made by the chef in the hotel. Xiaoya secretly watched Xiao Feifei's expression from the side and couldn't help but sigh in her heart. My skills may really help Sister Feifei's hotel, but she doesn't seem to realize it yet. Chapter 57. Nunuo, this kind of pastry is too sweet and not good for your teeth. Eat less in the future. Xiao Feifei looked at the cheaply packaged crystal cake and barely found a reason to stop her daughter from eating it. Nuonuo was not discouraged and pointed to a box in the plastic bag. "Mom, this box is given to you by Dad. If you don't like it, can Nuonuo have some more?" Xiao Feifei looked at her daughter's eager eyes, and guilt welled up in her heart. She sighed, "Okay, I'll give it all to you." Nuonuo took it with a smile on his face, turned to give Xiaoya a smug look. Xiaoya smiled helplessly, but sighed in her heart that this little guy had fooled his mother. Xiaoya had just poured the coffee and walked back, but saw Nuonuo picked up the crystal cake and started eating it. The tempting aroma made Xiaoya swallow her saliva. She tried to divert his attention. "No, look, there is a rainbow outside the window." Nono looked back curiously, but found that the sky was clear. How could there be a rainbow? Turning back, she discovered that a piece of the crystal cake was missing from the box, but Xiaoya was chewing it as if nothing had happened. At this time, hearty laughter came from outside the door. "Nunuo, baby, Grandpa and Grandma are here." The door was pushed open, and Mr. Chow and Mrs. Chow walked in with a smile on their faces. The two old people were in high spirits and looked at Nuonuo, their only granddaughter, with gentle eyes. Mr. and Mrs. Chow were very satisfied with Xiao Feifei's decision to divorce, but they were quite dissatisfied with giving Nuonuo to Su Yang for raising. Fortunately, Su Yang did not prevent them from visiting their granddaughter. Nuonuo was also very happy to see her grandparents. In the past, when her mother was busy and her father was at work, only her grandparents would play with her and take her to many fun places. Grandpa and Grandma, you are here. Nuonuo happily jumped into Grandpa's arms. Mr. Chow touched her head lovingly and said with a smile, "Of course you are here to accompany our little baby." Xiao looked at this scene and smiled slightly, but secretly sighed in her heart. The Chow family is indeed prominent, but what really makes Nuonuo happy is probably the simple fatherly love. Chapter 58. That afternoon, Chow Wenshan and Mrs. Chow brought Nuonuo to a luxurious villa. This was their old habit after returning to China, and they would always patronize the restaurant of this hidden private chef. As soon as the food was served, the two of them had great appetites and ate with gusto, but Nuonuo was a little absent-minded. He just took 2 symbolic bites and put down his chopsticks. "No, are these dishes not to your taste?" Old Mrs. Chow asked with concern. Nono shook her head and said softly, "I'm full." What she didn't say was that in her opinion, these exquisite dishes tasted far inferior to the food cooked by her father. When we got back to the villa at night, Noonuo played the claw machine and grabbed a cart of dolls. She ran back to the room with them in her arms, looking very satisfied. She turned on the video call and dialed my number. Seeing my face on the screen, Noonuo couldn't wait to share her achievements in catching dolls. But soon, when she knew that I was going to set up the stall alone, she showed some worry on her face and whispered, "Dad, remember to go home early." I smiled and nodded in agreement, and promised to make her favorite fried beef noodles the next day. After hearing this, Noonuo finally smiled with relief and hung up the phone. Mrs. Chow happened to hear our conversation and felt a little guilty. Compared with Chow Wenshan's cold attitude towards me, she had some appreciation for me as her former son-in-law, thinking that I was young and ambitious. That night, Mrs. Chow told Chow Wenshan about this. He was silent for a moment and finally said, "For Nono's sake, arrange a decent job for him." Old Mrs. Chow reminded, "Xiao Su has a strong sense of self-esteem, so don't let him know that we helped him arrange things." Chow Wenshan nodded, then contacted his old friend Lao He and asked him to help arrange it. That night, Lao He came to the villa in person and discussed my matter with Chow Wenshan over tea. He joked, "You supported your daughter's divorce, and now you're helping that guy find a job. In the end, you just can't bear it." Chow Wenshan responded calmly, "My granddaughter's matter is more important than anything else. But he must never know about this." Oldie smiled and nodded in agreement and started chatting about family matters. "I really envy you for having a granddaughter. My girl, is such a headache." Oldie sighed and picked up the inconspicuous box of pastries on the table. Was this pastry brought back from abroad? The packaging looks very simple. He joked with a smile and opened the package. Chow Wenshan said stubbornly, "This is a limited edition customized by a top foreign pastry chef, specially for our distinguished guests." In fact, he knew very well that this was just a crystal cake I made. Laoi picked up a piece, squeezed it gently, and smelled it. A wonderful aroma came to his nose. He couldn't wait to take a bite and suddenly stopped, his eyes full of surprise. "Old Xiao, is this really the work of a foreign master? The taste is so special. I have never tasted such an amazing crystal cake." Xiao Wenshan felt a little guilty when being stared at, and he hesitated. "Well, Master, I'm not willing to reveal it because I'm anonymous." Lao He was not relenting. "The quality of this pastry is in no way inferior to that of a 5-star hotel, and even better. You can't keep it to yourself?" Xiao Wenshan was filled with mixed feelings when he heard Lao He's praise. He never thought that the crystal cake I made casually could impress Lao He, who was well informed. Chapter 60. Xiao Wenshan and Lao He had an argument in the living room over 2 boxes of crystal cakes. Xiao Wenshan tried to get a piece from Lao He, but Lao He held onto the cake tightly and refused to let go. "Is this really that delicious?" Xiao Wenshan asked tentatively. As Lao He devoured the food, he proudly replied, "I guarantee that this is the most delicious pastry I have ever eaten in my life." Seeing this, Xiao Wenshan couldn't help but take a piece to try. As a result, he was also stunned by the deliciousness of the crystal cake. It was soft, chewy, and had a strong rice aroma and a faint sweet-scented osmanthus fragrance. It tasted sweet but not greasy, and it was very memorable. This cake actually surpassed all the snacks from famous shops he had eaten. Xiao Wenshan immediately became suspicious. Where did this come from? Lao He couldn't help but ask. "Lao Xiao, which master made such an amazing pastry?" Xiao Wenshan hesitated and didn't know how to answer. At this time, Gong Yakin came over. After hearing the reason for the dispute, she tasted a piece of crystal cake and unexpectedly showed a surprised expression. She blurted out, "This is simply the most delicious cake I have ever eaten in my life." Gong Yakin then explained that Su Yang asked Nuonyuo to bring this pastry. Hearing this, Xiao Wenshan and Lao He were stunned. Lao He asked in surprise, "Did your ex-son-in-law make it?" Xiao Wenshan nodded with a complicated expression. Lao He laughed loudly. "Lao Qiao, you have found a treasure and you don't even know it. With this skill, it's more than enough for you to enter any five-star hotel." Xiao Wenshan remained silent. He had never thought that his former son-in-law, whom he had always looked down upon, actually had such amazing skills. Gong Yakin also said with emotion, "This child may have more potential than we thought." Xiao Wenshan looked down at the crystal cake in his hand, feeling mixed emotions. This time, he had to reevaluate Su Yang. Chapter 61. Xiao Wenshan and Lao He were arguing over 2 boxes of crystal cakes. After Lao He finished one, he praised its deliciousness and held on to the remaining cakes and refused to give them to Xiao Wenshan. Xiao Wenshan had no choice but to persuade Gong Yakin to try a piece. Gong Yakin was not interested in this seemingly ordinary pastry at first, but after taking a bite, she was immediately shocked and said that this was the most delicious pastry she had ever eaten in her life. Xiao Wenshan finally learned that these 2 boxes of crystal cakes were made by Su Yang himself, which surprised him greatly. As a person who was picky about food, he never thought that his former son-in-law had such superb cooking skills. Especially when Lao He finished eating the crystal cake and proposed to discover the producer and invite him to his home, Xiao and Shan felt even more complicated. The couple began to discuss whether they should ask Su Yang to make a few more boxes and send them over through Nuonyuo. Gong Yakin suggested that Su Yang make the cake under the name of Qiao Feifei. Although Xiao and Shan was unwilling to admit it, he was obviously obsessed with the taste of the crystal cake. He was struggling internally between maintaining his dignity and his desire for delicious food. Xiao and Shan suddenly remembered that he had promised Lao he to send 2 more boxes of crystal cakes, and he felt a headache. Finally, he reluctantly accepted Gong Yakin's suggestion and asked his daughter Qiao Feifei to contact Su Yang so that he could continue to get this amazing delicacy. All this made the family begin to re-examine Su Yang, the former son-in-law they once despised. Chapter 62. Magic City, University Town, at the entrance of the Snack Street Alley. My friends, this is the treasured snack street where I went when I was in college. The stalls in the alley are all serving the most delicious food. A female anchor, holding a selfie stick, excitedly introduced to the live broadcast room. She mentioned confidently that this snack street is a food paradise for Shanghai's college students, especially the braised pork rolls and oden from a certain restaurant, which were her favorites during her student days. However, when she ran to the braised pork roll stall excitedly, she was stunned by the deserted scene in front of her. There was no one in front of the stall, and even the boss showed an awkward smile. The live broadcast room exploded instantly, with netizens' questions and ridicules filling the screen. Did the host exaggerate? No one was queuing at all. Did you remember the wrong place? In order to save the situation, the anchor quickly changed the target. That Odin restaurant is absolutely amazing. The ingredients are fresh and the soup is rich. Every time I queue up, it takes 20 minutes. She hurried to the stall, but it was just as deserted as before. The stall owner was playing with his phone boredly, and there were only a few skewers of food left in the pot on the table, and no one was interested. Family members, I really don't know what happened. The anchor looked embarrassed and almost cried. Her live broadcast room has become a fun place, and netizens have been posting comments and making jokes. Did all the college students go to the library at night? Or do you have a sensitive palate? These stalls are actually unpalatable. Just as the anchor was deeply doubting her life, several college students walked by the alley entrance quickly, and their conversation caught her attention. I told you to come earlier, but you insisted on playing the ranking match. Now, if the fried beef noodles are sold out, what will you do? Wow, please, Boss Sue. You must save some for me today. Yes, fried beef noodles, braised pork buns, green bean shaved ice, and the crystal cake that is popular in the forum. They are all delicious. Hearing these words, the anchor was stunned. She slapped her head and said with surprise, "It turns out that the new top stall in Food Alley is Boss Sue's stall. My family, we will not stop until we eat Boss Sue's food today." She quickly followed the footsteps of the college students and ran to the end of the alley. The snack street was now the real lively place. Chapter 63. At the end of the alley, there was a long queue in front of my stall. Looking from the corner of the alley, the huge crowds of people were shocking. The noisy laughter and complaints were endless, making the place very lively. Boss Sue, do you still have fried beef noodles? I want 2 servings, someone shouted loudly, his tone full of eagerness and anticipation. Purchase limit on crystal cakes? One person can only buy 2 boxes? That's too little, a girl muttered, obviously dissatisfied with the rules. I must grab the braised pork buns today. I queued for a long time yesterday, but came up empty-handed, another voice followed. I stood in front of the pot, frying beef noodles with great concentration. The ingredients in the pot rolled under the high temperature, and the fragrance spread, attracting people to inhale continuously. The control of the heat is all based on experience, and the movements are handy. During the stir-frying, the color of the beef noodles becomes more and more attractive, which arouses people's appetite. On the other side, Xiaoqing was in charge of handing out crystal cakes and green bean shaved ice with skillful and neat movements. Our cooperation ensured that the stall operated in an orderly manner. Boss Sue, this beef noodles is cooked so professionally. Someone in the crowd exclaimed, his eyes fixed on the spatula in my hand that was taking the food off the pan. Is this beauty the boss's wife or daughter? This almost made me laugh. I just looked up and glanced at her while I was busy. The comments around were all over the place. The boss is so handsome. Give me your WeChat. This stall is so popular, other stalls can't compare. Host, you're not deliberately keeping it a secret, are you? You didn't even mention this popular place in advance? Someone joked with the host holding the selfie stick. Satisfied smiles can be seen everywhere in the crowd. They hold crystal cakes or green bean shaved ice and taste them with joy on their faces. Boss Sue's fried beef noodles are absolutely amazing. You'll be addicted after trying it once. Someone praised with a tone full of affirmation. I glanced at the long line and wondered if there was enough stock for tonight. It looked like today would be another busy day until late at night. Chapter 64. The last 10. As soon as I finished speaking, a sigh of despair was heard in front of the stall. The anchor, named Little Duck Egg Doesn't Eat Rice, was stunned where he was, and the selfie stick in his hand was almost dropped. 10th from the bottom? This? I just got in line. Her voice was filled with helplessness, as if she had just experienced a food disaster. I looked up and saw her expression was full of grievance. Other customers around her were also wailing. No way. We can't eat today? A boy wearing glasses sighed helplessly. I've been here for 2 days in a row, and I failed every time. How can I survive? Another girl was holding her mobile phone, seemingly complaining to her friend. I should have taken a day off today. If I don't eat Boss Sue's beef noodles, what's the point of living like this? I couldn't help but smile when I heard these familiar voices. Every day, there are people complaining, but every day there are people who insist on queuing. Duck eggs don't go well with rice. He looked at the stall with a helpless look on his face, while the live broadcast room on the mobile phone in his hand was already buzzing. Host, are you a fake foodie? You can't even queue up? Haha, the host is not professional enough. He should have learned how to time scenes like this in advance. This is the legendary food nightmare. I can't eat fried beef noodles. I can only watch others eat it. The host's expression instantly became stiffer as he watched his hope, which was almost within his reach, completely shattered. Wow, why are you doing this to me? I'm obviously about to get eaten. She muttered softly in a crying voice. The people around couldn't help but laugh out loud. Little girl, this is Boss Sue's stall. How can you have fun if you don't come early? Ha ha ha. The next time remember to bring a tent and reserve a spot the night before. Someone teased her, causing everyone around them to burst into laughter. I was busy filling the beef noodles, but I couldn't help but smile when I heard these conversations. When there were many people, there was always such a joyful scene in front of the stall. Little Duck Eggs Don't Go Well with Rice took a deep breath, seemed to adjust his mentality, and said to the live broadcast room, Family, I am indeed late today. I must grab it tomorrow. The live broadcast room's barrage instantly became lively again. A man who works hard never admits defeat. Who is a local in Shanghai? I will buy you a plate of fried beef noodles at a high price. I will arrive by high-speed train tomorrow, and we will do the transaction on the spot. Ha 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 ha. Come on, anchor. The spirit of working hard will never fail. Watching the farce gradually subside, I smiled and shook my head and began to focus on the beef noodles in the pot again. Today's bustle is still the most familiar scenery in this alley. The anchor held back the tears in her eyes and forced a strong smile towards the camera. See you tomorrow. Chapter 65. This is the last serving of fried beef noodles. Thank you for coming. I handed the fried beef noodles to the customer, and the rest of the people could only watch helplessly with unwillingness in their eyes. A man in the crowd suddenly said, "Boss, you're out of rice noodles. I'll go get some from another stall, and you can fry it for me. I'll pay you the original price." His proposal was immediately responded to. Someone chimed in, "Yes, I will also make rice noodles. I can even get beef." I couldn't help but smile as I listened and nodded in agreement. "Okay, but I use dry rice noodles. Other rice noodles may not taste as good." "Don't worry, your craftsmanship will definitely not fail." They patted their chests and assured, with expectations written all over their faces. But today is an exception. It won't work next time because my daughter wants to go to bed early. I added, and everyone nodded in agreement. Soon, they went to the other end of the alley. When I passed by Master Wang's stall, I saw the Chow Noodle King eating the fried beef noodles I made and drinking green bean shaved ice. Seeing this scene, they looked at each other and sighed helplessly. Even the king of fried noodles was defeated. There is nothing we can do. Then, they came to Master Lu's stall. Master Lu greeted them enthusiastically. "Want fried noodles? Don't worry, my cooking skills are better than before. No, we only want raw rice noodles, just sell it to us." Several people waved their hands with a firm tone. Master Lu was stunned, his face full of astonishment. "You want it raw? Not fried?" "Yes, thank you, Master Lu." They hurried away with the rice noodles, leaving Master Lu speechless. How heartless. They actually changed their name to Master Lu. Chapter 66. At the entrance of the alley opposite the university town, I was helping the last few customers fry beef noodles. Although it was not authentic dry sand noodles, I still tried my best to fry it better. Watching them eat one bite after another with satisfaction, I smiled and said, "As long as you like it, I'm happy." They nodded and praised me, saying that my cooking skills were impeccable. On the side, Yue quietly helped me clean up the stall. After the stall was cleaned up, I thanked her and rode away on my electric bike. After a while, her phone notified her of a transfer, which was a thank you note from me. "This is the reward for your help today. You deserve it." 200 yuan, not more, not less, just what she could earn from selling lemon tea in one night. This way, she could express her feelings without making her feel embarrassed. In the Magic City Villa, Xiao Feifei received a call from her mother just after getting off work. "What? Let me call Su Yang? About the crystal cake?" She frowned, unable to believe her ears. The mother urged on the other end of the phone. "Your father has given the order, and it's up to you to do it. Just treat the chairman's request as a job requirement." Xiao Feifei was extremely depressed. Crystal cake? Su Yang? She and he had divorced a long time ago, so why should she be humble now? She rubbed her forehead, recalling the crystal cake that Noanoa took away during the day, and then she realized that it was made by Su Yang. But how could she ask for it? She was the one who filed for the divorce in the first place, and she left with a high and mighty attitude. But now she had to beg Su Yang? Meanwhile, I rode my electric tricycle back to the courtyard. It was quiet all around, with only old people who went to bed early. Occasionally, a young man would pass by and say hello. "Boss, do you still have fried beef noodles?" I smiled and shook my head. "We are all sold out today, sorry." They sighed, said some jokes, and left. I looked at their backs and started cleaning the dining car. Cleaning the dining cart is my habit. No matter how busy I am, cleanliness is a basic respect for customers. Dad, in her baby voice, and I felt a little empty inside. I wanted to call her, but then I remembered the chat we just had, so I smiled and shook my head. It seems that I am a complete daughter slave. I said to myself with a self-deprecating tone. Thinking that I would be able to pick up Noonyo back tomorrow, I suddenly felt a lot more relaxed. Although I am busy all day long, with the help of the system, I have more energy than before. Today's stall business is also very good. I took out my mobile phone and prepared to check the system points, hoping to draw something good. Chapter 67. Su Yang counted today's income while sorting out the accounts. Today, he sold more than 600 servings of fried beef noodles, 800 cups of green bean shaved ice, and more than 350 boxes of crystal cakes, with a total profit of 14,580 yuan. Earning tens of thousands a day, setting up a street stall can be so exaggerated. He chuckled and looked at the system points, 1690 points, looking forward to drawing new dishes. But for now, he had to prepare the ingredients for tomorrow. He contacted the supplier in the market and told him the quantity he needed, and the supplier readily agreed to deliver the goods to his door. Business is difficult, and now with a big customer like Su Yang, suppliers naturally dare not neglect it. After solving the problem of ingredients, Su Yang was ready to draw a lottery, but was interrupted by a phone call. The name of his ex-wife Qiao Feifei appeared on the screen of his mobile phone, and he was stunned. Why did she call so late at night? At this time, Qiao Feifei had just returned home and was soaking in the bathtub tiredly, with her mother Gong Yakin's phone call still lingering in her mind. Just for a few boxes of crystal cakes, you have to make me look for Su Yang? She frowned, feeling conflicted, and finally made the call. Hello. Su Yang's familiar voice came. At that moment, Qiao Feifei seemed to have returned to the days when they first met in college. Su Yang, are you asleep? She asked tentatively. How can I answer your call when I'm asleep? Su Yang's tone was calm, but a little helpless. Where is Nuonyuo? Is she asleep? Qiao Feifei asked. She should be asleep. Your parents took her to the playground today. She must be exhausted. Qiao Feifei was speechless after hearing this. Su Yang's tone made her feel a little bit hurt, but she couldn't refute it. She hesitated for a moment and finally gritted her teeth and said, Did you make the crystal cake that Nuonyuo brought today? Yeah, what's wrong? Su Yang asked, with a hint of doubt in his tone. Well, Qiao Feifei chose her words carefully. She said it was delicious. Can you make a few more boxes tomorrow? Su Yang didn't know what to say for a moment. He could only remain silent for a moment and replied, It depends on my mood. The two have already divorced, so there is no point in saying all this. It's just, the little girl said that the crystal cake you made is so delicious, and she wants to eat more. Chapter 68. This little girl Noonyuo is just greedy. The crystal cake is too sweet. No matter how much I give you, she can finish it. I said calmly and directly rejected Qiao Feifei's request. Let's wait until she comes back tomorrow, and I'll make something else for her to eat. I added, but I knew in my heart that Nuonyuo must have been spoiled at her grandparents' house today. On the other end of the phone, Qiao Feifei was flustered when she heard my answer. I easily rejected this excuse, so how should she continue? I noticed that she didn't hang up the phone for a long time, so I asked curiously, Do you have anything else to do? Qiao Feifei hesitated for a long time and finally whispered, Actually, can you make some crystal cakes for me? Her voice was as small as a mosquito's buzz. Okay, I got it. I'll make a few boxes and send them over tomorrow morning. I agreed to her calmly, but heard a brief silence on the other end of the phone. Just as Qiao Feifei felt a little happy, her fantasy was shattered by my next words. 1 box is 25 yuan. 6 boxes are 150 yuan in total. Just pay tomorrow morning. You still remember my WeChat, right? If you've deleted it, you can transfer the money through Zafubo. My words completely stunned Qiao Feifei, and her face turned pale and blue. Feelings are feelings. Business is business. I have to make money to support my family. I'm different from you who have a wealthy family and a big business. I added, with a hint of sarcasm in my voice. Qiao Feifei gritted her teeth, feeling unwilling, but had to agree. Got it. I'll deliver it on time tomorrow morning. It's on my way. I'll leave it at the front desk of your hotel when I set up my stall. You can come and get it yourself. I said calmly, ignoring her emotional fluctuations. After hanging up the phone, Qiao Feifei threw the phone down fiercely, feeling angry and helpless. This Su Yang was simply unreasonable. She opened WeChat and looked at their chat history, which stopped at 1 month before their divorce. Are you coming back for dinner today? Nuonyuo misses her mom. She simply replied, I'm too busy. I don't have time. Just have something simple for dinner. Flipping through the chat history, Qiao Feifei sighed. Was she a complete failure as a mother and wife? But then she raised her head and laughed at herself. Who says women have to stay at home obediently? She returned to her cold and elegant look. I'll pay for the crystal cakes when the goods arrive tomorrow. She muttered to herself and exited the WeChat interface. She was secretly competing in her heart. One day, she would also let Su Yang beg her. Chapter 69. I'll set up a stall tomorrow. After hanging up the phone, I took a quick shower and lay down on the bed to rest. Qiao Feifei was obviously very angry when she heard that I was going to set up a stall. He actually want to set up a stall? She thought in disbelief while wiping her hair. She thought that I had graduated from a key university and had worked in a nationally renowned company. Even if I was promoted, it would be easy for me to find a job with an annual salary based on my ability. But I chose to set up a street stall? She vaguely understood that I did this for Nuonyuo. If I worked in a company, it would be almost impossible not to work overtime and socialize. But setting up a stall allows me to spend more time with my daughter. But even though she understood, she still felt regretful. What future does setting up a street stall have? He can't even attend Noonyuo's parent-teacher meeting. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. She also thought about how I left the house with nothing when we divorced. And now, even raising our daughter has become a problem. Forget it. When he can't afford to support Noonyuo, our daughter will naturally come back to me. She sighed and continued to busy herself with her own affairs. After hanging up the phone, I opened the Shinshu system, saw 1690 points, and started the lottery directly. Congratulations to the host. You have mastered Japanese. Congratulations to the host. You have mastered English. Congratulations to the host. You have mastered Korean. I pumped 16 times in one breath. The skills and item rewards instantly increased my memory. There was no pain at all, and I even felt a tingling pleasure. What satisfied me most was the constant temperature fresh keeping box. I operated it immediately, and a plastic box with a blue shell appeared on the floor. It may look ordinary, but it can keep food at a constant temperature and fresh. Even if you put hot water in it, it will still be hot when you take it out a month later. With this magic tool, the dishes I cook can be guaranteed to remain fresh and taste the same no matter how long they are stored. The system really understands people. I sighed. With it, setting up a stall can be done easily. At this moment, I am more determined in my choice. As long as Nuonuo is happy, other people's opinions don't matter to me at all. Chapter 70. I woke up at dawn. It was not yet 6 o'clock, which was already late compared to the usual 3 or 4 o'clock. The owner of the vegetable market would deliver the ingredients I needed, so I could sleep a little longer today. After washing up, I started to prepare food for the stall. I soaked the rice noodles in water and dried them, then made braised pork buns, crystal cakes, and green bean shaved ice. Although Juawei twice-cooked pork was a new recipe I learned, it was not suitable for breakfast, so I put it aside for the time being. Although the system gave me a constant temperature fresh-keeping box, I'm more accustomed to cooking and selling immediately, which can better control the quality. I was busy for an hour and a half, and finally loaded all the prepared food onto the electric tricycle. When I rode my bike to the entrance of the elementary school, the customers had been waiting for a long time. This place is the best location for setting up a food stall today. Even on weekends, when students are not in school, parents and nearby residents still gather here to wait for my breakfast stall. I honked the horn, and the familiar beep sound made the crowd make way immediately. I parked the car at the spot where I had set up my stall yesterday. "Boss Sue, we finally saw you," the customers shouted in a flurry, all of them excited. My wife insisted on eating the braised pork buns you made yesterday. If I didn't buy them for her, she said she would chop me into braised pork. "Boss Sue, the crystal cake is so delicious. My daughter cried until midnight last night, and she still wants to eat it today." Don't listen to their complaints. I have to thank you. The goddess agreed to go on a date with me after eating your crystal cake. Brothers, I'll go first. Today I'm going to challenge a bowl of fried beef noodles in 3 mouthfuls. The laughter around them continued. I was busy dealing with the enthusiastic customers, and more than 300 braised pork buns were quickly sold out. I sold 230 cups of green bean shaved ice, 280 portions of fried rice noodles, and crystal cakes were in short supply. After all the food was consumed, I packed up the stall and rode my tricycle to the Mingji International Hotel in Shanghai. This hotel is more than 30 stories high and is one of the largest chain hotels under the Chiao family, with very luxurious facilities. My electric tricycle was parked in front of the hotel, forming a sharp contrast with the parked luxury cars. But I had a good attitude. The car was just a tool, and a tricycle that could make money was no worse than those luxury cars. When I walked into the hotel, the receptionist came up to me politely and said, "Hello, sir. How can I help you?" "I need to drop something off at the front desk," I answered casually. The other party obviously thought I was a delivery man. I came to the front desk, and 2 young ladies in professional attire smiled sweetly. "Sir, what can I do for you?" "Oh, I'm here to deliver the takeaway," I answered calmly. Just as I was about to continue explaining, a sudden noise behind me caught my attention. I turned around and saw the room manager apologizing to a foreign man, apparently trying to retain the guest. "Mr. Will, is there any problem with our hotel service? Why do you want to leave early?" The manager looked anxious. This was the 10th VIP guest who checked out early this week. The foreign man said in fluent Italian, "Your service is fine, but I am very disappointed. As a person who came to Longwood to look for delicious food, the food here does not satisfy me at all." I understood his complaint, but the manager standing in front of him obviously didn't understand Italian at all. I watched this scene silently, thinking to myself, maybe I should do something. Chapter 71. The assistant translated Will's words helplessly. and tried his best to embellish them. Mr. Will said that he has limited time in Dragon Country, and he is very sorry. To ease the atmosphere, he added, in fact, Mr. Will is not only dissatisfied with this hotel, but also with several other hotels. He is indeed quite picky about his taste. The manager could only sigh helplessly after hearing this. In fact, the catering control of this international hotel is already very strict. The chefs tried their best, but Will was still not satisfied. As a VIP guest, the hotel has tried its best to entertain Will with the best service. Unfortunately, no matter how hard the chef tried, he still couldn't satisfy him. The manager cursed inwardly. Damn it, is pizza and pasta the only thing Italy has? Why is Will so difficult to deal with? He sighed, ready to accept the next accusation. At this moment, Will was about to check out with the room card, but he accidentally touched my bag. The plastic bag was cut open, and several boxes of crystal cakes fell to the ground. Will immediately bent down and apologized. Sorry, it's my fault. I am willing to pay double compensation. I picked up the crystal cakes and checked them. Only one corner of the box was broken, and the others were fine. It's okay. It's not broken, I said in fluent Italian. Will was shocked. Oh my God! You can speak Italian? And you speak it so well. If it weren't for your appearance, I would have thought you were Italian, Will said sincerely, insisting on compensation. That box was broken. I must compensate you. I didn't think it was necessary, but Will was very adamant. Finally, I nodded and agreed. Okay. Will happily took out 100 yuan from his wallet. No need to change, just consider it my compensation, I said helplessly. This is too much, and I don't have any cash on me. Will stuffed the money into my hand and said, No, this is compensation. Then he asked curiously, Excuse me, what kind of cake is this? I have never seen it before. I smiled and explained in fluent Italian. This is a Chinese dessert called crystal cake. You can try it. Will smelled the crystal cake, couldn't help swallowing, picked up a piece and took a bite. To my surprise, he immediately showed a look of surprise on his face. This is so delicious, Will exclaimed. Sir, which hotel are you the chef of? I'll move there right away. I want to eat the delicious food you cook every day. I smiled without saying anything, feeling relieved inside. Chapter 72. Hearing Will's words, the housekeeping manager was stunned. He couldn't believe that a crystal cake packaged in a street stall could satisfy Will. The assistant was also puzzled. It was obviously just an ordinary Chinese cake. How could it be possible for the picky Will to praise it so much? However, Will didn't care what others thought. He couldn't stop eating and ate the whole box of crystal cake in a few bites. He looked at me expectantly and said, Sir, which hotel chef are you from? I smiled and shook my head. Sorry, I'm not a chef. Then where did you buy these pastries? Will continued to ask. I did this myself, I said. I set up a stall on the street. In the afternoon, I'll be at the intersection of Nanjing Road Pedestrian Street and in the night market alley in University Town at night. After hearing this, Will immediately asked his assistant to note down the location and said excitedly that he would go to find me to show his support. I said with a smile in fluent Italian, You're welcome anytime. In addition to crystal cake, I have other delicious foods. His eyes were full of anticipation, as if he couldn't wait. Then I turned to the receptionist and said, President Xiao asked me to deliver these boxes of crystal cakes. Just give them to her when she comes. After saying that, I handed the cakes to the receptionist and turned to leave. The assistant whispered to Will, Are we still going to check out? Will shook his head. No need to check out, just stay here, it's closer to his stall. The housekeeping manager breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this. After all, they finally managed to keep this difficult guest. In the hotel's top-floor office, Xiao Feifei was busy handling affairs. She was shocked when she heard the room manager report that Su Yang communicated with Will in fluent Italian and impressed the picky Will with crystal cakes. When did he learn Italian? Xiao Feifei frowned, puzzled. What surprised her even more was that even Will was willing to go to his roadside stall for this crystal cake. She looked down at the boxes of crystal cakes on the table, feeling mixed emotions. Could this kind of cheaply packaged dessert really be so attractive? Last night, her parents, Chairman Xiao, personally called and specifically mentioned the crystal cake. They even used their status as chairman to ask her to arrange it, which shows how much they value this cake. Tell Xiao to deliver these crystal cakes to Mr. Xiao. Xiao Feifei sighed and told the room manager. The room manager nodded, full of doubts, but still did as he was told and left. She turned to look at her assistant Fang Xiaoya and said coldly, Why? Do you want to eat too? Fang Xiaoya waved her hands quickly, looking innocent. Boss Xiao, I didn't eat a single bite. but I noticed that she secretly swallowed her saliva and looked at the box of crystal cakes left on the table with longing in her eyes. Xiao Feifei rolled her eyes at her and said, "Why don't you go to work now?" Chapter 73. Fang Xiaya stood there with a wronged look on her face, muttering in her heart, "You blame me for this? It was obviously you who didn't eat Su Yang's crystal cake yesterday, and now you regret it and blame me." She returned to her workstation angrily, but she couldn't help but secretly glance at Xiao Feifei's desk. Her eyes fell on the box of crystal cakes. As a foodie, who could bear the pain of not being able to eat such delicious food? Xiao Feifei opened the crystal cake box, and the cake was crystal clear, exuding an alluring fragrance. She picked up a piece and took a bite, and the soft, sweet taste instantly burst in her mouth. The wonderful taste she had never experienced before made her a little stunned. She finally understood why Will and Mr. Chiao were obsessed with this crystal cake. This thing actually had such magical power. As she tasted the food, she felt that her physical and mental fatigue was healed. However, she couldn't figure out when Su Yang had learned this skill. With his level, he can definitely be a dim sum chef in a hotel. Xiao Feifei thought to herself, and even began to consider that this might be able to intimidate other chefs. Just as she was thinking, Fang Xiaoya came over and asked expectantly, "Sister Feifei, can I have a piece?" Xiao Feifei looked at her helplessly. "You want to eat it, right? You're almost drooling." Fang Xiaoya smiled foolishly and quickly picked up a piece and stuffed it into her mouth, her eyes squinting with happiness. "By the way, Sister Feifei, are you free tonight?" Fang Xiaoya suddenly asked mysteriously. "What's wrong?" Xiao Feifei asked back cautiously. "I found a super delicious fried beef noodles restaurant, and I want to take you there to eat." "Fried beef noodles?" Xiao Feifei frowned. "I'm not interested in greasy food." "But it's super delicious." Fang Xiaya pestered Xiao Feifei like a spoiled child, not discouraged. "Do you think I have nothing to do?" Xiao Feifei rolled her eyes at her. "I'm not like you, who have nothing to do all day. It's because you're busy that I want you to relax." Fang Xiaoya stuck out her tongue and added with a smile, "Besides, didn't you ask me to take you out for some good food yesterday?" Xiao Feifei pointed to the crystal cake on the table. "I'm eating it now, right?" "That's right." Fang Xiaoya nodded and said jokingly, "After all, this is made by your husband himself." "Husband?" Xiao Feifei was stunned for a moment, and her face turned red. "Don't talk nonsense. Su Yang and I." She was about to explain, but found that she couldn't say it. "Come on, Sister Feifei, you can't fool me." Fang Xiaya looked smug. "Tell me, when will you remarry Su Yang?" "Remarry?" Xiao Feifei shook her head and said coldly, "There will be no chance between us." Her expression instantly returned to its cold and elegant state, like an unapproachable ice wall. Seeing this, Fang Xiaya dared not joke anymore and could only reach for the crystal cake on the table in dismay, only to find that the box had been taken away by Xiao Feifei. "Okay, get to work." Xiao Feifei waved her hand, her tone unquestionable. Fang Xiaya pouted and walked away reluctantly, thinking in her heart that she must try her luck at Su Yang's stall tonight. Xiao Feifei stared at the crystal cake in her hand, hesitated for a moment, and then picked up another piece and put it in her mouth. The wonderful taste experience made her unable to stop, and she was completely immersed in it. "Humph, he charged me for these crystal cakes." Xiao Feifei snorted coldly, with some reluctance in her tone. "Su Yang, I won't beg you, but this crystal cake is really delicious." Chapter 74. "Oh, old Xiao, you really didn't fool me." In the Magic City Villa, Hyunyin saw 4 boxes of crystal cakes on the table and smiled. Although the cheap packaging is ordinary, the taste is definitely good. Xiao Wenshan held the tea and said proudly, "When have I ever lied to you? Not to mention a few boxes of crystal cakes. Even a full banquet can be prepared by me." "Tisk, what's so good about a full banquet?" Hyunyin shook his head. "Even if there are 3,000 bottles of water, I will only drink one." "By the way, which master made this crystal cake?" Hyunyin asked curiously. Xiao Wenshan smiled faintly. "It's a trade secret." He thought to himself, "How can this tell you that my son-in-law made it? Although he is the ex-son-in-law, this crystal cake is inseparable from my Qiao family." But Su Yang is becoming more and more difficult to understand. He has been wondering recently whether it is right or wrong for his daughter to divorce Su Yang. "Umph. Why are you pretending to be so mysterious?" Hyunyin knew that it was useless to ask any more questions, so he simply grabbed the 4 boxes of crystal cakes on the table and said, "I'll take them all." "Wait!" You can only take 2 boxes. Xiao and Shan became anxious upon seeing this, and immediately snatched back the 2 boxes and hid them behind him. Seeing the two fighting like children over the crystal cake, the atmosphere suddenly became weird and funny. Old Xiao, you are so stingy. Can I pay for you? He Yongyin looked unwilling. This is not a matter of money. Xiao and Shan frowned. Don't ask any more questions. He Yongyin shook his head and was about to take the opportunity to grab again, but he saw Gong Yakin and Xiao Nuonyuo, who had just returned from a walk. Nuonyuo saw the 2 boxes of crystal cakes in his hand at a glance, and her little face was full of anticipation. Nuonyuo, dear, your grandpa still has 2 boxes. He Yongyin couldn't resist and had to point to Xiao and Shan. Nuonyuo looked towards Xiao and Shan and asked happily, Grandpa, are these sent by my father again? He Yongyin was stunned and asked, Nuonyuo, are you saying that these crystal cakes were made by your father? Nuonyuo nodded and said proudly, Of course. The crystal cake made by my father is the most delicious in the world. He Yongyin laughed after hearing this. I was wondering why I couldn't find a master who made this crystal cake. It turns out to be your ex-son-in-law, Su Yang. He deliberately emphasized the word former son-in-law with calculation in his eyes. TSK Tisk, he's young and talented. I'll arrange a good job for him and let him meet my daughter, and it'll be a done deal. Seeing the smile on his face, Xiao and Shan immediately became alert. He knew Laoyi's character and knew that this guy must be planning something shady. At this moment, He Yongyin was full of pride. I searched for him among the crowd for thousands of times, and when I turned around, he was standing in the dim light. This time, old Xiao, you gave me a great gift. Chapter 75. He Yongyin left with a face full of excitement. Gong Yakin was a little confused when she saw him. What's going on? Oldie wouldn't be so happy even if he won the lottery. Humph, I'm afraid it's not just a lottery problem this time. Xiao and Shan said in a cold tone, but he knew He Yongyin's thoughts very well. Nuonyuo picked up the 2 boxes of crystal cakes from Xiao and Shan and happily opened the boxes. The sweet smell filled the air. It's really the crystal cake made by my dad. Nuonyuo ate a piece with a satisfied look on his face and shared it with his grandpa and grandma. While eating the crystal cake, Xiao and Shan couldn't help asking, How is this crystal cake made? Why is only Su Yang able to make this taste? Nono smiled and replied, Dad gets up in the early morning every day to make crystal cakes. He can make 1 or 200 boxes at a time. What? 1 or 200 boxes every day? Xiao and Shan was stunned. Then what are these boxes of mine? He made so many. Why did he just pick a few boxes for us? He didn't expect that Su Yang didn't prepare them specially, but treated them as ordinary customers. Dad said that the most troublesome thing is to cook the mung bean paste, which is hot and tiring, but he could do it very quickly. Nono said proudly, and then added, I helped Dad to run the stall in the evening. You're going to set up a stall too? Gong Yakin asked in surprise. Yes, setting up a stall is fun. There are many pretty girls, and there are also very fun grandparents. Nuonyuo said with great joy, obviously having more fun than playing at her grandparents' house. After listening to Nuonyuo's description, Gong Yakin was thoughtful. I didn't expect Su Yang's cooking skills to be so good that even these ordinary people are willing to line up to buy his things. Xiao and Shan felt bad. With such a good skill, why didn't Su Yang show it? Even the chefs in the hotel couldn't make such a taste. At the same time, Su Yang left the hotel and rode his electric tricycle to the vegetable market. He was going to prepare a new dish, Juewei twice-cooked pork, for the evening. At this time, there were not many people in the vegetable market, so he went straight to a pork stall and took a fancy to the brightly colored pork. Boss, how much is this pork? 20 yuan a pound. It's cheaper if you buy more. The boss said casually. Su Yang sneered. 25 pounds, 17 yuan a pound. If you don't sell it, I'll leave. The boss was stunned for a moment, knowing that he had met a knowledgeable customer, and quickly agreed. Okay, I'll go with your price. Su Yang carefully selects the meat for twice-cooked pork, and the meat must meet specific standards. 40% fat and 60% lean, and 3 fingers wide. If the proportions are not met, the taste will be much worse. This is his usual emphasis on cooking. After choosing the pork, he bought some ingredients and auxiliary materials. These things may seem simple, but if they are not used properly, they will affect the taste of the whole dish. Su Yang prepared the good things and had already planned in his mind that he would let all customers taste his newly launched twice-cooked pork tonight. Chapter 76. When I got home, half an hour had passed. Nuonyuo was not at home today, and I did not need to prepare lunch, so I decided not to take a lunch break and continue to work at the stall in the afternoon. It was a good time to try a new dish, jiuewe, twice-cooked pork. I added a line of words on the sign of the stall. Jiuewe, twice-cooked pork, 28 yuan per portion. Each person is limited to one portion, limited quantity, while stocks last. The most important thing about this jiuewe twice-cooked pork is that it is fried and sold immediately. If there is no constant temperature fresh-keeping box, I will not easily sell this dish. I blanch and slice the pork I buy, and then put it in a fresh-keeping box for storage, so that I can use it directly when setting up a stall. But I can't put the finished product directly in. The effect of the constant temperature box is too amazing. If people find that the dish is still steaming after being taken out of the box, I'm afraid it will be on the hot search on Douyin and Weibo. It took me 2 hours to make the green bean, shaved ice, and crystal cakes to sell in the afternoon. I made more than 300 cups of shaved ice and 180 boxes of crystal cakes. After finishing all these, I started to try to fry jiuewe twice-cooked pork. Nona was not here today, so I had to taste it myself. I heard that twice-cooked pork was invented by Su Dongpa. I wonder if the taste of the dish I make today can be close to that of his time. But if you think about it carefully, it is unlikely. How could there be such rich seasonings hundreds of years ago? I am afraid that the food the emperor ate would not be as delicious as the instant noodles we eat now. I first put the pork in cold water, added ginger slices, peppercorns, and cooking wine, and cooked it slowly over low heat. When the meat was cooked, I took it out and put it in cold water to cool it down so that it would be easier to slice. Needless to say, my knife skills are excellent, because with the blessing of the God Chef system, even an experienced chef with decades of experience can hardly match my skills. A few minutes later, I cut the pork into slices of the same size and thickness. If professional chefs saw this, they would probably suspect that I was a hidden chef. I put the sliced meat into a steel basin lined with lettuce and estimated that I could make at least 100 plates of twice-cooked pork. Each plate was sold for 28 yuan, and after deducting the cost, the net profit was about 2,000 yuan. Not bad, and most importantly, it would allow me to accumulate more system points. I simply fried a plate of twice-cooked pork with rice to taste. When the meat slices were stir-fried in the pan, the rich aroma came to my nose, making me swallow my saliva. I picked up a piece of chopsticks and put it in my mouth, and instantly felt the ultimate deliciousness. The meat is tender, the aroma is rich, and it is oily but not greasy. I can't help but sigh. This jiuewe twice-cooked pork is simply amazing. A plate of meat with 3 bowls of rice. I ate so much that my mouth was full of oil, and I couldn't stop eating. With this taste, I am very confident that it will become another hit after the fried beef noodles. After eating, I washed the dishes and cleaned up. I looked at the time, and it was already past 1 o'clock. I decided not to take a lunch break and go directly to the stall and pick up nuonyuo in the afternoon. I opened the stall map in my mind and found that the place with the largest flow of people today was not Nanjing Pedestrian Street, but the entrance of a nearby park. If you think about it carefully, this makes sense. Today is the weekend, and the park is holding a flower viewing event. The flow of people has increased sharply. It is said that even the stalls have been sold for more than 100,000 yuan each. But this has nothing to do with me. I don't have that much money to fight for a stall, and I don't worry about not being able to sell all the things. Anyway, I can set up the stall early, sell out early, and go home early. Thinking of this, I rode my electric tricycle, loaded the goods, and headed straight to the park entrance. Chapter 77. After deciding on the destination, I rode my electric tricycle straight to the foot of the park. In less than half an hour, I arrived at my destination. At this moment, the entrance of the park was very lively, with all kinds of stalls filled with people selling balloons, fruits, and grilled sausages. Almost more than the tourists. The system's recommendation this time is really great. I sighed in my heart. The food stall map can not only display the flow of people in real time, but also accurately locate the busy areas. This is simply amazing. I set up the stall and wrote down the menu. Stir-fried beef noodles, crystal cake, green bean shaved ice, and a new product, jiuewe twice-cooked pork. All this seemed a bit out of place in the eyes of the surrounding stall owners and tourists, who would buy stir-fried beef noodles and twice-cooked pork while hiking. This is outrageous. Passers-by looked at me and said, "This young man doesn't know how to do business." The stall owners didn't even bother to look at me, obviously thinking that I was a newbie with no competitive edge. The lady selling sweet potatoes next to me couldn't help but advise me, "Young man, is this your first time setting up a stall? It's better to sell this kind of thing on the pedestrian street." I smiled and nodded in response. Thank you for your advice, Annie. I'll just treat it as a fun thing. The Annie shook her head helplessly. It seemed that she thought I was a person who would not listen to advice and would only learn my lesson if I suffered losses myself. 10 minutes later, as the Annie had expected, there were many tourists coming and going, but not a single customer stayed at my stall. On the other hand, the Annie sweet potato stall was doing a booming business, and the sliced sweet potato slices were almost sold out. I still sat at the stall, not shouting or rushing. Just then a couple came over from a distance. I'm so thirsty. I want to drink milk tea, the girl said to her boyfriend coquettishly. Where can I buy milk tea in this place? Be good. I'll buy some later. The boyfriend tried to comfort her, but the girl was dissatisfied. If you don't buy me milk tea, don't even think about touching me tonight. Hearing this, the boy panicked instantly and looked around quickly, but there was no milk tea shop. Seeing that he was about to order takeout with his phone, I quickly said, You too, although I don't have milk tea here. I have ice green bean shaved ice. Do you want to try it? The boy's eyes lit up, and he immediately asked his girlfriend's opinion. But the girl pouted. Mung beans? I don't like them. And is this healthy? I quickly explained. My mung bean smoothie is a pure natural drink. It is not only delicious, but also good for the skin. It can detoxify and nourish the skin. Hearing the words detoxify and nourish the skin, the girl obviously hesitated for a moment and finally nodded. Okay, let's try it. But if it doesn't taste good, I interrupted her with a confident smile. If it doesn't taste good, just don't pay. The girl was stunned and looked me up and down. She was obviously a little unconvinced, but she decided to try it anyway. Okay, then have a cup. I quickly took out a cup of ice green bean shaved ice from the insulated box and handed it to her. She took it and smelled it first, then raised her eyebrows and said, It tastes good. She took a sip carefully, her eyes lit up instantly, and she couldn't help but take another big sip. Oh my God, this is much better than milk tea. Boss, you are amazing. Seeing this, the boy quickly ordered a cup as well. After drinking it, the two praised it again and again. This green bean smoothie is amazing. It's perfect to drink before hiking. Their praise attracted the attention of the surrounding tourists, and gradually more people gathered around curiously. Some tried the green bean shaved ice, some were attracted by the exquisite appearance of the crystal cake, and some began to order stir-fried beef noodles and twice-cooked pork. In less than an hour, a long line formed in front of my stall, and the previously quiet situation was completely reversed. The stall owners next door looked at me in surprise, and the aunt even said with emotion, Young man, you have made a lot of money now, right? I smiled and nodded, thinking to myself, it seems that today's Juewei twice-cooked pork is really going to be a hit. Chapter 78. It's just mung bean paste. How can it be better than milk tea? The girl in the couple was full of doubt, and even the boy was a little unconvinced. I smiled and handed over a cup of mung bean shaved ice, without further explanation. Try it and you will know. The boy took it, felt the coolness of the ice, and took a sip through the straw. The girl looked at him curiously, waiting for his comments. But he suddenly showed an expression of great enjoyment and exclaimed, Baby, try it. This green bean shaved ice is amazing. Really? The girl was still a little hesitant, but under her boyfriend's urging, she mustered up the courage to take a sip. The sweet and delicate taste instantly exploded on the tip of her tongue, and the cool and refreshing feeling went straight to her stomach. The girl was stunned. Then, she couldn't stop at all, and drank the whole cup of mung bean smoothie in one breath. This is so delicious. Her tone was full of surprise, and even a little unbelievable. Is this really made of mung beans? The boy did not hesitate any longer, and immediately took out his phone to scan the code to pay, and bought 2 more cups. One for her and one for himself. The green bean shaved ice is amazing, but would you like to try my crystal cake? I recommended it at the right time. Crystal cake? The girl's eyes lit up, and she was obviously interested in something new. I explained, this is a traditional Chinese dessert. I modified it with snow skin, honey, and jasmine flowers. It's absolutely delicious. The girl was completely conquered by my mung bean smoothie and ordered 2 boxes of crystal cake without hesitation. When paying the bill, she saw the sign that read Crystal Cake / 25 yuan per box, limited to 2 boxes per person, and couldn't help but wonder, Boss, is there a limit on the purchase of crystal cake? I smiled and replied, There's nothing we can do. Some customers like it so much that they often buy all of it at once, leaving other people without any. The boy was a little skeptical, but didn't say much. He handed 2 boxes of crystal cakes to the girl. The girl couldn't wait to open the package. The exquisite crystal cake in the box made her exclaim, "This is so beautiful. No matter how beautiful it is, you have to eat it. I'll buy you another one after you finish eating it." The boy patted his chest proudly. "Wait, take a picture first." The girl took out her phone, adjusted the angle, and took a picture of the crystal cake and the park scenery. Then she edited the text expertly and posted it on WeChat Moments. "I am so tired from climbing the mountain today, but fortunately the food will not disappoint those who are on the journey." I was speechless watching from the sidelines, muttering to myself, "You haven't even started climbing the mountain yet, but you're posting to your moments so quickly." After taking the photo, the girl finally picked up a piece of crystal cake and took a bite. The moment she took a bite, she trembled all over and tears welled up in her eyes. "It's so delicious. It's so delicious. The boss didn't lie to me at all." She cried while eating, muttering, "It's so delicious. I can't bear to eat it, but I'm so greedy if I don't eat it." Her exaggerated behavior attracted the attention of many passersby. Someone couldn't help asking, "Beauty, isn't it just a box of crystal cake? Is it that serious? You'll know if you try it." The girl recommended it without hesitation, attracting more tourists. My stall finally became lively, and crystal cakes and green bean shaved ice became popular products that tourists rushed to buy. Looking at the crowd's reactions, I felt very satisfied. It seemed that today's trip would not only not result in a loss, but would also make a good profit. Chapter 79. Such a great chef, setting up a stall in front of a park? You will know if you try this crystal cake. It is really delicious. The woman never stopped talking, eating the cakes while she spoke hesitantly. Seeing the vivid expressions on the faces of the couple in front of me, it doesn't look like they are acting at all. After all, with such acting skills, why not act in TV dramas instead of being a stand-in? It's really a waste of talent. "Boss, how much is your crystal cake?" Finally, someone couldn't help but ask. 25 yuan a box, and each person can only buy 2 boxes at most. "It's a bit expensive." The crowd looked and saw that a box of crystal cakes like this only cost 5 yuan. That's equivalent to $5 for one piece. To be honest, it's still a bit expensive considering the current environment. With $5, you could buy 2 sweet potatoes from the stall next door and eat them. Then, give me a box to try first. Although it seems a bit pricey, the couple next to me really enjoyed the meal. I can't stand it no matter what. As one of them started talking, others who were watching also began to buy. "Boss, I want 2 boxes." "Oh, and a cup of iced green bean smoothie." "I want one too. Give me one to try." "We haven't even started climbing the mountain yet. Why are you guys already eating?" "Nonsense. Doesn't climbing a mountain require physical strength? Shouldn't we replenish our physical strength first so that we can climb the mountain better?" "What you said makes sense." As the customers in front of me got their crystal cakes and mung bean shaved ice, as he took bites, he screamed in surprise. "This mung bean smoothie is so refreshing. One bite and you'll feel cool all over. And this crystal cake is so delicious. Why would I climb this mountain?" Appreciating flowers? Even dogs don't appreciate them. These customers simply stopped in front of Su Yang's stall one by one and completely forgot the purpose of their visit to the park. People who arrived later couldn't help but feel curious when they saw how lively Su Yang's stall was. This is how it is when setting up a stall in Manhwa. As long as there are crowds of people in front of your stall, it will definitely attract more people to line up. As for their logic, it is quite simple and crude. With so many customers here, the food must be good. Even if it's a scam, it's not just me. Soon, a long queue formed in front of Su Yang's stall, which had been deserted. Dozens of people who came to the park lined up in an orderly manner one after another. This really broke the defense of the sweet potato selling lady who had just been advising Su Yang. "What's going on? I've been running a stall for half my life. How can a stall like Su Yang's be so popular? 25 yuan for a box of crystal cakes. You really don't care about the money at all. What about mung bean smoothie? Isn't it just mung beans mixed with a little water? What's so good about this thing?" They are not as clean and hygienic as the sweet potatoes I sell. However, no one even looked at her sweet potatoes. Even the grilled sausages, which usually sold the best, had no business at all. At the entrance of the park, all the stall owners were stunned. Where did this young guy selling fried rice noodles come from? Are you looking for help? Among those in the queue, several of them out of 10 are definitely hired by him. Although they were very unwilling, Su Yang's fried beef noodles started to sell over there. He didn't prepare any braised pork buns today, as that was a bit troublesome to prepare and was more suitable to be sold in the morning. In the afternoon and evening, Su Yang still chose not to make the braised pork buns. With a sizzling sound, as Su Yang put the rice noodles into the pot, A rich aroma immediately hit the face. The entire park entrance is filled with an irresistible fragrance. Even passersby who were exercising and jogging here couldn't help but stop. I exercise every day and eat a lot of nutritious meals for weight loss, so it shouldn't be a big deal to have a good meal occasionally, right? At worst, we can ask the stall owner to use less oil. These passersby who were exercising came to Su Yang's stall and lined up without any control over their hands and feet. After all, running for exercise? You could do it every day. But Su Yang's fried rice noodles, crystal cake, and mung bean smoothie are gone if you miss them. Wow, damn it, I said I would lose weight, but I still can't control my hands. Wow, it smells so good. It's all the boss's fault. If his fried beef noodles weren't so delicious, how could I have committed the sin of greed? That's right, it's not my fault, it's all the boss's. It doesn't matter. I'll run up and down the mountain a little more, and the heat will go down. I'll just eat one box of crystal cakes. Just one box. Well, I'll also have a cup of green bean shaved ice. As for the fried beef noodles, originally, these people gathered together because they were all running enthusiasts. Every Saturday and Sunday, we organize running activities in various parks. But today, they discovered that not only do they share the same hobby of running, but they also share the same interests when it comes to eating. On the other side, the couple who first bought crystal cake and mung bean shaved ice at Su Yang's stall had already been squeezed out of the crowd. At this moment, they had just finished the crystal cake in their hands and were about to queue up to buy 2 more boxes. Oh, by the way, they can also try the fried beef noodles. Just as the two of them walked back to the end of the line, more than a dozen comments had already appeared on the woman's circle of friends on her mobile phone. This pastry looks delicious. It's the country park in the south of the city, right? I know. This is crystal cake, a specialty of Kyoto. The best one used to be made in a southern shop called Zilanjai. Not just in Kyoto, right? This thing isn't rare. It's sold in many places. Wait, why does he look more and more familiar the more I look at him? Xiaorong is the owner of this stall, a very handsome guy. Damn, could it be Boss Su? What a coincidence. I didn't expect the Shanghai community to be so small. Why didn't I see Boss Su setting up a stall on the pedestrian street today? Did he go to the suburban park? Xiaorong, please help me hold down Boss Su. I'll take a taxi and rush over. Wait for me, let's carpool. A woman named Xiaorong was stunned after seeing the message on her WeChat moments. What's going on? Is this crystal cake vendor famous? How come she doesn't know? But judging from the reactions in the circle of friends, it seems that this boss is not the first time to set up a stall. Also, it turns out his last name is Su. What's wrong with Xiaorong? The man next to her saw Xiaorong's strange expression and asked with concern. Xiaorong showed him the content in her circle of friends on her mobile phone. The man never expected that the stall he just ate was actually owned by some famous person. It doesn't make sense. Such a great chef would set up a stall in front of a park. What's going on? Chapter 80, the security captain is here. The captain is also greedy. Magic City, at the entrance of the country park. Most of the people who came here today came for the flower viewing event. Some are mountain climbing enthusiasts who like to exercise. But now, because of the emergence of Su Yang's snack stall, everything has changed. People who want to go to the mountains to enjoy the flowers stop here, and mountain climbing enthusiasts also choose to take a rest. They all gathered around Su Yang's snack stand. At first glance, there were so many people, it was even outrageous. The foot of the mountain is even more lively than the top. At this moment, there were already 70 or 80 people gathered in front of Su Yang's stall. They are quite well-mannered and line up consciously. I can't wait to try the delicious food Su Yang makes. Hey, can you please stop worrying about it? Hurry up. Everyone is waiting. That's right, if you really can't do it, why don't you just order one of each? Why are you so hesitant? Wait, look what I found. Why does the boss's sign still say Juewei, twice cooked pork? Is he still selling this stuff? Twice cooked pork? This is too outrageous. Setting up a stall and selling this. Is there a possibility? Let's say, is there a possibility this Juewei twice cooked pork is meant to be eaten with stir-fried beef noodles? Just like green bean smoothie and crystal cake, it's a perfect match. That makes sense. I'll have to try it later. If I had known, I would have eaten less at noon today. It's okay. You can choose to go for a run in the mountains. Aren't you hungry? Humph, you want to trick me? I'm going to run a few steps on the mountain? Wait, you guys will eat up all the boss's food. Do you think I don't know? Ha ha. How could that be? We will at least leave some for you. At least a cup of mung bean smoothie. Get out of here. As time went by, half an hour passed quickly. The number of people in front of Su Yang's stall not only did not decrease, but increased. These are the people who came here from other places after seeing other people's moments. Most of them recognized Su Yang. After all, although the Magic City is big, Su Yang is currently just setting up a stall in his own area, so people who have eaten his food are already familiar with him. We've caught up, Boss Su, we're here. I finally waited for you. Fortunately, I didn't give up. Boss Su, you idiot, you had to come here to set up a stall. I spent tens of dollars on a taxi. I'm so heartbroken. How many boxes of crystal cakes do I have to buy? Even the person in charge of the park was shocked when he checked through the surveillance camera. At one point, I wondered if something major had happened at the park entrance. He quickly mobilized 80% of the security guards in the park to go to the park entrance. Pushing through the crowd, I found that everyone gathered here just because they wanted to eat Su Yang's fried beef noodles. What kind of fans of this Tan Yang are so powerful? The security guards were speechless. Captain, you know what? This fried beef noodles is really delicious. Yes, Captain, how about we try it too? This is also for the sake of the tourists. What if the stall owner's fried beef noodles are unhygienic? We can be considered to have tested the poison first. The security captain sniffed hard and felt that his mouth was about to drool. He swallowed hard and nodded seriously. I think what you said is right. Since we are the security guards of this park, we must protect everyone's safety. We must first test this fried beef noodles to see if there is any problem. As they were talking, they were about to walk towards Su Yang, but they were instantly seen through by other tourists who were queuing. Hey, you guys, what do you want to do? Go line up at the back. What are you looking at? You dare to compete with me for fried beef noodles? Do you believe that I will call and report you right now? That's right. Can you guys have some manners? If you want to eat the delicious food made by Boss Su, then queue up behind him. Several security guards were also surprised as to why these people suddenly became so united. There was no way out. There was no reason for me to do so. I could only walk to the end of the line and start queuing up. As for the explanation to the park manager, of course, I stayed to maintain order. Boss Su, I drove here from downtown. I waited for you on the pedestrian street for a long time, but I didn't see you. Fortunately, I have many friends, so I knew you were here. The first person currently in line spoke to Su Yang. Su Yang smiled and asked, "What do you want to eat?" "Let's have one of each." "Oh, by the way, I want to try this Jiuwei twice-cooked pork. Is it a new product?" "Yes, that's right. This is the first time I'm making it today. Please forgive me if it's not delicious." "Of course not. Don't I trust the food that Boss Su makes? Just go ahead and make it." Su Yang smiled, said nothing, and started to make the twice-cooked pork. Heat the pan first, then pour in cold oil. Then Su Yang opened the fresh-keeping incubator and took out the slices of meat that had been cut and processed at noon. He grabbed a handful and put it into the pot. The bright color of the meat slices was exactly the same as when they were just cut. The crowd watching naturally couldn't see anything. They just thought that the hands used by Su Yang looked very new. Soon, the meat slices made crackling sounds in the pan and became slightly curled. Seeing this, Su Yang knew it was almost time. The sound and the appearance of the meat in the pot indicate that the fat on the surface has been fried out. If it continues to stay in the pot, it will affect the tenderness of the meat. Simply put, if you keep frying it, it will get old. Su Yang added bean paste, fermented black beans, and freshly chopped garlic slices into it. In an instant, the rich aroma of meat overflowed from the pot. The whole air was filled with the aroma of rice noodles and then the smell of twice-cooked pork. This feeling is so addictive just by smelling it that everyone's saliva starts to swirl in their mouths. It's so tempting even before it's done. If it's done, won't it make people salivate with greed? The people queuing up at the back all said that they would also like to order a plate of jiuwei, twice-cooked pork later. And those customers who had already lined up to get their food were extremely regretful. Why didn't I see Su Yang selling twice-cooked pork? I don't know if it's too late to queue up again. At this moment, Su Yang did not stop his hands and fried the meat slices over medium heat to produce kerosene. Then continued to stir-fry in the pan to color the meat slices. When the fire was almost done, Su Yang added cooking wine, sugar, salt, soy sauce, and other seasonings. Finally, sprinkle in scallions and green and red peppers. This way, the twice-cooked pork in the pot looks even more delicious and tempting. "Rise!" With a light shout from Su Yang, he lifted the pot with one hand and then poured all the food into the lunchbox that he had prepared in advance. At this moment, the customer first in line was speechless. "My mouth is full of saliva. With such a rich aroma, You can tell it's the most delicious thing in the world even before you eat it. This trip from the city center was really worth it. Chapter 81, Why Should I Add Your WeChat? Boss, Sue should add mine too. The customer had already scanned the code and paid in advance. When he saw Su Yang handing over the twice-cooked pork, he couldn't wait to reach out and grab it back. Yes, it was completely snatched away. I'm afraid that this delicious plate of twice-cooked pork will fall into the hands of others. In the eyes of the besieging crowd, the twice-cooked pork and garlic sprouts in the lunchbox were intertwined. The color combination looks very pleasing to the eye. The customer picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of meat, and put it in his mouth. Instantly, the taste buds exploded, and an incomparable sense of satisfaction came over me. The taste of this twice-cooked pork is really great. Fatty but not greasy, spicy but not dry, lean but not dry. It's simply superb. The other guests around him almost stopped breathing, their eyes all staring at that man. Every time he picked up a piece of twice-cooked pork and ate it, the others would swallow their saliva. It seems that they're also tasting this delicious twice-cooked pork at this moment. Looking at the greasy look of this customer, even the people who are waiting in line for fitness can't help but drool. Everyone was thinking to themselves that they must have a satisfying twice-cooked pork later. By the way, Boss Sue, the man who was eating twice-cooked pork, finally stopped. He raised his head and spoke to Su Yang. How about you add me as a friend? Wherever you want to set up a stall in the future, you can post a message on WeChat moments in advance so I can go there and wait in advance. Before Su Yang opened his mouth, other people in the queue began to echo him. Why should I add your WeChat? Boss Sue, add mine too. And mine, I'll support you every day too. Or Boss Sue, why don't you just create a group? This will save you a lot of trouble. Hearing everyone's enthusiastic suggestions, Su Yang didn't know what to say and just nodded to show his agreement. This is good, I can close my stall earlier every day. He opened WeChat on his phone, added the WeChat of the people in front of him first, and then directly created a group. Then the people in the queue added each other as friends and pulled them into the group one by one, which saved Su Yang the trouble. After all, he still had to be busy frying noodles and twice-cooked pork. But then again, why is it that after so many years, WeChat still hasn't made any progress? Can't you just do like Penguin and create a group number? Every time you join a group, you need to have friends you know to be added in. And the functions inside are very stupid, and most of the time you can't even find them. It can be said that it is not even as good as a penguin's hair. If it weren't for all the leaders using it, it would have been eliminated long ago. As the people in the queue added each other as friends one after another like a relay, soon the number of people in the chat group suddenly increased. After a while, the number reached hundreds. Of course, there are also many who were not present at the scene, but were pulled in by their friends. Su Yang also took the time to post an announcement in it, and the content of the announcement was naturally the same as that of other WeChat groups. In addition to not being able to advertise, pornographic images are also prohibited. Great! Boss Su finally created a group. I will go to Boss Su's restaurant every day from now on. +1, +1, +1. Mom doesn't have to worry about me not being able to find delicious food anymore. Oh my God! Happiness came too suddenly, didn't it? When I woke up, I was in Boss Su's food group. Is that you? Boss Su, are you coming to University Town tonight? Rain or shine, we'll be waiting for you. Thousands of college students are crying out for food. Soon, the news that Su Yang created the WeChat group spread quickly. After all, this is the internet age, and this kind of information is transmitted to various universities in less than 10 minutes. In the girls' dormitory of Jiangning University, today is Saturday and there are no classes. Because the weather is too hot, everyone is staying in the dormitory. Yin Yin, look quickly. Is this the boss of the fried beef noodles? Where? Lin Xian came over immediately after hearing the news from her roommate. She had just washed her hair, and her whole body was smelling of shampoo and her body fragrance. Look, isn't that what's in this picture? Boss Su, Lin Xian almost blurted out. Yes, it's that Boss Su. The roommate nodded and finally remembered that the boss of the beef noodles was surnamed Su. But she suddenly reacted and looked at Lin Xian with some surprise. Yin Yin, how come you remember it so clearly? I've been there to buy it several times, of course I know. Lin Xian blinked her watery eyes and quickly skipped over the topic. By the way, it says here that Boss Su has set up a WeChat group so that everyone can come and support him in the future. He will notify the group in advance where he will set up a stall in the future. What? Then hurry up and add it. We haven't eaten that fried beef noodles for 2 days, and Yin Yin didn't even buy it last time. Just talking about it makes me want to eat it. I've never had beef noodles so delicious. Let me see how to join the group. The roommate frowned. There was no specific content about Su Yangchuan's message. It was just suddenly posted on the campus wall. It seems that if you want to join Su Yang's group, you can only find the person in charge of the campus wall. Yin Yin, I'm afraid you'll have to take action. Me? Lin Xian was a little confused. Yeah, didn't you know? Lin Jian, the guy in charge of the campus wall, is one of your admirers. In short, little bootlicker, another roommate added with a laugh. Seeing that Lin Xian hadn't reacted yet, the roommate continued to explain. Think about it. You want to join Boss Su's gourmet WeChat group, right? WeChat can only be used as friends, right? Lin Xian nodded, that's right. Since you want to get in through Lin Jian, do you have to add Lin Jian as your friend first? Lin Xian nodded again. That's what was happening. Right, think about it. If Lin Jian could add you on WeChat, wouldn't he be so happy? After hearing what my roommate said, it seemed to make sense. Hurry up, Xian. If you come late, the group might be full. You know, the 3 schools near this university town are now waiting to eat the food made by Boss Su. Lin Xian finally reacted and contacted the other party directly through the campus wall. The result was not surprising, and I was able to enter Su Yang's food WeChat group quite smoothly. When Lin Xian saw Su Yang's WeChat profile picture, her face lit up with joy, and she thought to herself, next time I have the chance, I will definitely add him on WeChat in person. Just as Lin Xian was thinking about it, a message came from Lin Jian. How's it going, junior sister Xian? Have you joined the group? Let me tell you, I actually know a better restaurant. The Japanese food there is also quite good. You know the Japanese food immortal, right? Oh, sorry, Senior Lin. I need to go wash my hair. Oh, it's okay, junior sister. You go ahead and do your work first. Lin Jian looked at the message sent by his junior schoolmate Lin Xian on the phone screen. She actually washed her hair for me? As expected, I knew that junior sister Lin Xian had me in her heart. She must like me too. Chapter 82 Qiao Fei Fei. Just do it. There will always be a day when you will regret it. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Su Yang had finished setting up his stall. In less than 2 hours, a total of 240 servings of fried beef noodles were sold, 320 cups of mung bean smoothie, 180 boxes of crystal cakes, 90 servings of jiuewei, twice-cooked pork. The total income is 12,482 yuan. Of course, this is just income, not pure profit. But now Su Yang roughly estimated that if he set up the stall in the morning, noon, and evening, the daily net profit can easily reach tens of thousands. He didn't believe that hard work could make you rich before, but now Su Yang is beginning to believe it. He was naturally quite satisfied with this income. I walked towards the city humming a tune all the way, and after 20 minutes, I finally arrived at the Mingji International Hotel on my electric bike. Just like before, I found a marked roadside and parked the electric tricycle. Su Yang strode into the hotel. Unlike the first time, both the doorman and the lady at the front desk were quite familiar with Su Yang. He is Ms. Chiao's husband. Even though he is her ex, maybe they can get back together? What's more, Su Yang is also good at making delicious pastries, and even the picky foreign guests are very satisfied. Such a person is not someone that little karamis like them can afford to offend. Facing Su Yang, the lady at the front desk not only put on a warm smile, but also arranged for Su Yang to sit on the sofa in the lobby and thoughtfully brought him tea and snacks. After a while, a woman with delicate face and outstanding figure came down from upstairs. By her side, she was holding a cute little girl. The little girl is pretty and cute, and her bright eyes seem to be able to speak. It can be said that no matter who you are, you will like the little girl at first sight. After seeing Su Yang sitting on the sofa in the living room, she shouted excitedly, "Dad, you're here to pick me up." Then she ran towards Su Yang like a gust of wind and threw herself into his arms. Su Yang naturally had a look of joy on his face as he held the little guy high up in his arms. Fang Xiaoya, who was watching from the side, was actually filled with envy. The relationship between this father and daughter is so good. It's a pity that Su Yang is such a good man. Why doesn't Sister Fei Fei know how to cherish him? If it were me, I would never break up with him, let alone initiate a divorce. I really don't know what Sister Fei Fei is thinking. Fang Xiaoya really didn't understand, but she didn't know what to say. Old man and old lady Chow handed Su Inua over to me today and asked me to wait in the company for Su Yang to pick up Inua. It can be seen that the two old men seemed to have some different factors hidden in their hearts. They wanted to meet Su Yang a little, but finally decided not to. Fang Xiaoya was also very confused. It had only been less than 2 days. How come even the two elderly people had undergone some changes that she was not aware of? What did this man Su Yang do? Suppressing her inner curiosity, she walked up to Su Yang, waved her hand, and said with a smile, "Hello, Su Yang, it's been a long time since we last met." "Hello, you are? Fang Xiaoya, right? Xiao Feifei's cousin, right?" Fang Xiaoya nodded happily. I didn't expect that Su Yang actually remembered me. After all, no one else in the Qiao family was very happy about Xiao Feifei and Su Yang's marriage. So even Fang Xiaoya was forced to have less contact with Su Yang. It is estimated that the two met no more than twice. But she didn't expect that Su Yang still remembered her, even her name so clearly. Fang Xiaoya looked at Su Yang. Not only was he handsome, but his eyes were also clear and his smile was very warm. At first glance, he looked like a sunny and cheerful man. And since Su Inua likes him so much, he must be a man who cares deeply about his family. Only Sister Feifei would be willing to let go of such a good man. If it were me, she would definitely not be willing to do it. Xiao Feifei, you really don't know how to cherish. In particular, Fang Xiaoya also knew that Su Yang was not only excellent in appearance. His cooking skills are also amazing. Not only can they make delicious crystal cakes, Fang Xiaoya already knew that Su Yang would often go to the university town to set up a stall at night. In addition to crystal cakes, there are also fried beef noodles, braised pork buns, and green bean shaved ice. Those who have eaten it all praised it, saying that Boss Su's cooking skills are simply the best in the world. No wonder the little guy couldn't eat any snacks when he came to the hotel. Yes, she has a great chef like Su Yang. Isn't it just a matter of making whatever she wants to eat? This is a sure win for Fang Xiaoya, who is a big foodie. She also wanted to eat Su Yang's beef, river. There are also braised pork buns and mung bean shaved ice. Su Yang, I didn't expect that the crystal cake you made is so delicious. Sister Feifei has already eaten it and praised you a lot. Fang Xiaoya thought about it and decided to flatter Su Yang first and get closer to him. Just now, before Su Yang came, she had tricked Nua into successfully becoming the little guy's sister. Even though she's my sister, we still have a close relationship, right? As long as I get closer to Su Yang now, why would I worry about not being able to eat delicious food in the future? Although she could also go to Su Yang's night market stall, she heard that there were too many people queuing. Moreover, it is often the case that Su Yang's products are sold out and cannot be purchased. Of course, Fang Xiaoya will make good use of her relationship with Nuo. Of course, my father's cooking skills are the best in the world. Sister Xiaoya, didn't I tell you a long time ago? Everything my dad cooks is invincible and delicious. Before Su Yang could even reply, Su Inua, the promoter beside him, couldn't wait to speak. Obviously, Su Yang holds a very high position in her heart, which is completely unshakable. Yes, Sister Xiaoya, I finally understand now. I just don't know where you usually set up your stall, Su Yang, so I can go and support you. Fang Xiaoya spoke tentatively. No, the location of my stall may not be fixed recently. You and Nuo have such a good relationship. If you want to eat, just tell me, and I'll bring it to you. Really? That's really great. Fang Xiaoya had an unstoppable smile on her face. I didn't expect that I could succeed so easily. She also prepared a long set of procedural speeches. As a result, Su Yang agreed so easily. Or is this man just so good? Damn, this is so thoughtful and warm. Fang Xiaoya only felt that her heartbeat had quickened a lot. Where can I find such a good man? Xiao Feifei, just do it. There will always be a day when you will regret it. Chapter 83, Boss Su's Foodie Fan Club. Oh, by the way, I recently set up a WeChat group. If you really want to come, you can check out the messages in the group. Su Yang suddenly remembered that he was forced by old customers to set up a WeChat group this afternoon. WeChat. Fang Xiaoya secretly rejoiced. To be honest, with Su Yang's guarantee, he can deliver it to the company. Do you know what the location of the stall has to do with it? The most important thing right now is that she can add Su Yang's WeChat. What if Su Yang has been divorced for a long time and is bored? Can I still chat with him? He took out his phone and added Su Yang on WeChat. Soon, he pulled him into a group called Boss Su's Foodie Group. Just looking at the name of the WeChat group, Fang Xiaoya couldn't help laughing. Who came up with this name? It's so funny. Even Su Yang looked embarrassed. When he was closing his stall today, he gave the administrator privileges to one of his loyal fans because he didn't want it to be troublesome. Unexpectedly, in less than an hour, he changed the name of his group. Although he had no objection, the name was still a bit embarrassing. Especially, he took the initiative to invite Fang Xiaoya to join the group, as if he was just being narcissistic and asked for it. Fortunately, Fang Xiaoya had an expression that said, "I understand," which calmed Su Yang down a lot. Am I a narcissistic person? Su Yang shook his head. It turned out that these fans of his were really good at making fun of people, and I heard that my current group has spread to the entire school. The number of people in the group now exceeds 230. Even so, the number of people applying to join the group is still increasing. The person in charge of group management has issued an announcement. Because the upper limit of WeChat groups is 500 people, in order to ensure that only high-quality Boss Sue's foodie fans join the group, they must undergo strict screening. Those who cannot provide evidence to prove that they are Boss Sue's foodie fans will be refused to join the group. Su Yang also had no opinion on this. Let them do whatever they want. He was too lazy to care about such matters anyway. All I have to do is set up a stall and sell delicious food. Fang Xiaoya saw that Su Yang's WeChat group had quite a lot of fans. In particular, the announcements in the group can be seen at a glance. These are all Su Yang's loyal foodie fans. She originally wanted to say hello in the group, but found out that she was muted. Because I just joined the group and my activity level is low, I don't have the right to speak at all. Fang Xiaoya looked at Su Yang for help, and Su Yang smiled helplessly. He also knew about this. There is no other way. It won't work without this setting. Otherwise, the group would be flooded with messages. It's not advertising or chatting. Instead, they were all trying to flatter Su Yang. He praises Su Yang's cooking skills all the time and says he wants to eat Su Yang's delicious food every day. These people are simply getting more and more outrageous. After knowing that Su Yang is single, many people even want to introduce Su Yang to his sister-in-law, elder sister, younger sister, college classmates, etc. It's so outrageous that it's unbelievable. If this continues, WeChat groups will sooner or later be judged as cult groups. For this reason, banning people based on activity permissions is the only solution. Fang Xiaoya smiled and nodded, feeling embarrassed. Following Xiao Feifei in the office, I face the intrigues and deceptions in the hotel every day. Compared with Su Yang, who is a pure foodie, he is so friendly. After some chatting, Su Yang took Su Inua away. Looking at the two people's backs as they walked out of the hotel gate, Fang Xiaoya's eyes were full of reluctance. She looked back in the direction of the elevator. Su Feifei was obviously in the hotel today, but she just didn't want to come down. Not to mention going to see Su Yang. Can you at least send the little guy Su Inua off? Although the two are best friends and relatives. But to be honest, when it comes to how we treat Su Yang and Su Inua, Fang Xiaoya always felt that Xiao Feifei did a very bad job. In the Magic City, in a luxurious villa, He Yonyin was sitting on the sofa in the hall, enjoying the wonderful crystal cake while flipping through the documents in his hands. Su Yang currently lives in an old neighborhood in the south of the city. I rented a small bungalow with a yard, and the monthly rent was 5,000. This is certainly not expensive in Shanghai. His current job is to set up a stall outside. The main items sold are fried beef noodles, braised pork buns, green bean shaved ice, crystal cakes. In addition, today we have added another dish, jiuwei, twice-cooked pork. Su Yang is quite diligent in setting up his stall. He goes out to set up his stall every morning, noon, and evening. The places where he sets up stalls most often are the primary school gate, Nanjing Road Pedestrian Street, and University Town Food Lane. In addition, he usually goes out to set up stalls with his daughter, Nuonyuo, at night. However, except for the first day, the stall was not set up for long because business was good. He Yonyan looked at the information in his hand, which was quite detailed. Even the rice and flour that Su Yang bought from the owner in the vegetable market were recorded in detail. And the amount purchased each time is marked on it. I have to say, money can really do a lot of things. Especially today, when there is almost no privacy, most people seem to live naked in the world. Of course, the privacy of most people has no value or meaning. Those rich people don't want to understand it all. But Su Yang was different. In He Yongyan's opinion, it was not just his good friend Xiao Wenshan who asked him for help, but more importantly, he values Su Yang's own value more. Yes, this kid is really able to endure hardships. After looking at Su Yang's information, He Yongyan became more and more satisfied and fond of Su Yang. Although he divorced Xiao Feifei, he was still very strong-willed and chose to leave the house with nothing. Not a penny was asked. But in order to take care of his daughter Nuonyuo, he went out to set up the stall 3 times a day and had almost no rest. Such perseverance is truly admirable. It even reminded He Yongyan of Xiao Wenshan when he was young. At that time, he had nothing and came to the magic city alone. Isn't it just brute force that is relied upon? But he was lucky enough to be noticed by a rich lady, which saved him hundreds of years of detour. Hundreds of years. What Eonian said was not an exaggeration at all. Su Yang's business seems to be booming at the moment. But how much money can you make just by setting up a street stall? No matter how delicious the food is, if you don't promote it and use advertising and marketing to enhance its intrinsic value, there is no way you can talk about success. Eonian was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, Su Yang graduated from a key university. He should understand this simple marketing trick, right? It's like most handmade works are nowadays not as sophisticated as those produced by industrial machines. But as long as we add the spirit of craftsmanship, we can increase the added value of the product hundreds or thousands of times. Just taking Su Yang's box of crystal cake as an example, if he were to set up a stall, it would only be worth about 20 yuan. But if I put it in my own hotel, it would have to sell for at least $200. And the amount in a box will never exceed 3 pieces. Even this is considered very conscientious. Chapter 84, It's Really Hard to Be a Child. Dad, Nuonuo has missed you so much these past 2 days. Do you miss Nuonuo too? Guess what? Well, I guess Dad misses Nono, just like he misses Dad. Nono is so smart. Since Nuonuo answered correctly, is there any reward? What reward do you want? I want to eat ice cream. Suyang looked at the little guy in front of him. There were still stains of ice cream on the corners of his mouth. There is no need to think about it. Fang Xiaoya must have taken Nunuo to eat ice cream. Yes, this guy Nuonuo is really good at acting cute. As Su Yang's finger touched Nuonuo's lips, Su Inuo reacted quickly and wiped the marks on the corners of her mouth clean with her little hands. Nono gave a flattering smile. Seeing this, Su Yang could only shrug helplessly. Facing such a lovely daughter, he couldn't get angry at all. It seems like you've eaten a lot of ice cream these past 2 days. I've decided that starting this week, you can't eat ice cream at all. Whoa! The originally flattering expression on Nunua's face instantly turned into pain. No, Dad. How can I live without ice cream? How can you bear to treat your lovely Nono like this? That can't be helped. Su Yang's tone was firm. No matter how Su Inua acted like a spoiled child and cried for mercy, it was useless. Seeing that his method was useless, Su Inua wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes with his backhand, and the expression on his face returned to normal. She sighed quietly. What her father had decided. It seemed like she would have no ice cream to eat this week. Oh, it's so hard to be a child. You don't even have the right to have ice cream freely. Then, Dad, can I? Can I still eat the fried beef noodles, braised pork buns, and crystal cakes you make? Can. After getting Su Yang's reply, the little boy Nuonuo finally felt relieved. Fortunately, it's okay, although I can't eat the ice cream. But you can still eat other delicious things. Especially when Dad made it himself. Nuonuo followed Su Yang back home contentedly. As soon as he walked into the room, the little guy couldn't wait to turn on the TV. The program broadcast on TV today is the classic cartoon Blue Cat's 3,000 Questions. How thick the earth is, how high the sky is. How thick the earth is, how high the sky is. The stars are blinking and the moon is making a question mark. Comet with a long tail. Rainbow Bridge. Time is flying. How much do you know about life? The little guy was watching TV and humming along with the theme song. Suyang Smiled. He felt very familiar with this childhood program. Fortunately, in the world of Longhua, many of Su Yang's childhood programs have been preserved. I don't know if there will be a parallel world where only some meaningless garbage animations remain. Looking at Nua Nua, who was singing in front of him, Su Yang felt extremely happy and satisfied. Sometimes, accompanying your children as they grow up is itself a very fulfilling and happy thing. What's more, Nuonuo is a cute, sensible, and obedient little angel. As the cartoon was playing, the little guy just finished watching one episode and fell asleep on the sofa drooling. Su Yang smiled gently, tiptoed to cover her with a pink bear blanket, and then turned off the TV. He walked out of the living room and went into the kitchen, where he began to prepare ingredients for the night stall. On the other side, in the Mingji International Hotel, Fang Xiaoya is communicating with the dim sum chef in the hotel's kitchen. Crystal cake, don't you know how to make crystal cake? Fang Xiaoya was a little depressed. In such a big hotel with so many dim sum chefs, not even one can make crystal cake. Crystal cakes are not rare. Not only can I make crystal palaces, I can also make ice crystal cakes. Finally, after a lot of searching, I found a confident dim sum chef. Under Fang Xiaoya's expectant gaze, the master chef worked in the kitchen and finally made the so-called ice crystal cake. As a result, Feng Xiaoya frowned after taking just one bite. What is this? It's so soft that it sticks to your teeth. It's not chewy at all, and the taste is far from what Su Yang made. How dare you show this thing to others? Feng Xiaoya originally wanted to say something, but then she thought that she had finally managed to get a little bit of insight into the kitchen. I have established a little bit of relationship with these dim sum chefs. If I say it directly, it might hurt their fragile and young hearts. Although these dim sum chefs are different from other chefs, they don't care who is the general manager. But Feng Xiaoya still forced herself to endure it. Even though he didn't say anything, the expression on his face couldn't lie. Why? Do you think the food old Lu, cook is not tasty? Master Lu has been making dim sum and pastries for more than 20 years. It is no exaggeration to say that he is adept at making both southern dim sum and northern pastries. It's just a crystal cake, no, ice crystal cake, what's so difficult about it? But why did this woman have this expression after eating? What I make is definitely the most authentic ice crystal cake. Master Lu was very depressed. Feng Xiaoya was also helpless about this. In fact, Master Lu has so many years of experience and even has 2 or 3 apprentices, so naturally his skills can't be too bad. But people are afraid of comparison, especially when Master Lu is comparing himself with Su Yang. The difference between the ice crystal cake he made and Lu Yang's crystal cake is as huge as heaven and earth. But it's not far off. Miss Feng, can the crystal cake you mentioned be better than the ice crystal cake I made? Feng Xiaoya could only choose to remain silent. At this moment, it seemed that nothing she said would be good. But the more Feng Xiaoya kept silent, the uglier the expression on Chef Lu's face became. After all, there are so many dim sum chefs in the kitchen watching. And the apprentice he brought with him, personally, I originally wanted to show off my skills. But I didn't expect that the result would be embarrassing. But the expression on his face was still very unconvinced. He had been a dim sum chef for so many years, but he had never been convinced by anyone. Well, Miss Feng, can you bring me that crystal cake you mentioned so I can try it? Feng Xiaoya's expression was even more embarrassed. Should I bring Su Yang's crystal cake over for you to try? Are you kidding? I haven't eaten enough myself. If you want to try it, why don't you buy it yourself? She had to beg Nuonyuo with great difficulty to get such a small piece. As for what Su Feifei had in her hand, she wouldn't even let herself smell the scent. It's hard for me to even eat one piece myself. Where can I get one for you? Besides, if I get it, I'll eat it myself. Although Feng Xiaoya thought so in her heart, she could only say it. Okay, I understand, Master Lu. When I have a chance, I'll bring that crystal cake over for you to review. Chapter 85, all group members listen to my orders and go straight to Boss Su's electric tricycle. Wow, Dad, this twice-cooked pork is so delicious. Nuonyuo, who had just woken up from a nap, was eating the dinner prepared by Su Yang. The main course is naturally the latest Juewei twice-cooked pork. After taking a bite, I even felt like my tongue was about to be bitten off. It's such a great time. Su Inuo was eating so much that he was almost talking incoherently, and even his pronunciation was wrong. There's still a lot. Eat slowly. Su Yang touched the little guy's head. At this moment, Su Inuo picked up a piece of twice-cooked pork and started to wolf it down with rice. This fatty but not greasy taste is simply perfect. Sure enough, only at my dad's place can I eat real gourmet food. Before, at my grandparents' place, the things and ingredients looked very high-end, but they were not delicious at all. Su Inuo became happier the more he ate. He devoured the food with relish and couldn't stop at all. Su Yang was naturally very happy as well. After all, it was a very happy thing that the most important person in his heart liked to eat the food he cooked. Soon, all the food on the table was eaten up by the two of them. The little guy Su Inuo licked the plate that originally served the twice-cooked pork with unsatisfied feeling. Great times, such great times. Dad, can Nuonyuo take this twice-cooked pork to kindergarten tomorrow? Su Inuo looked at Su Yang with pleading and pitiful eyes again. Su Yang refused directly and decisively. No, no, no. You eat too much meat. There were other vegetables today, but you didn't eat much of them. For Nono's health, you can't eat meat tomorrow. Otherwise, you'll be like Mr. Wu next door. As soon as Su Yang mentioned Uncle Wu, Nuonyuo automatically imagined it. The most eye-catching thing about Uncle Wu is, of course, his belly, which looks like a big watermelon. It is always erect and looks very scary. However, Uncle Wu is still a very kind person, but he eats too much every day, especially since he is old and his digestion is not very good. There is no way he can lose weight in this belly. When he thought of that scene, the fearless Nuonuo also became a little scared. She doesn't want to grow a big watermelon belly at such a young age. I know, Dad. Nuonuo will try to eat vegetables in the future. Suinoa raised his greasy little hand to make a promise. The little guy wanted to say it seriously, but it was still quite reluctant when he said it. There is no way, compared to meat, vegetables really don't taste good. The fact that she could say this was already giving Su Yang a lot of face. Su Yang smiled and naturally understood it very well. Seeing Su Yang start to clean up the dishes, Su Inua hurriedly followed him into the kitchen. Dad, let me help you. As the little guy spoke, he dragged the bench from the kitchen door and used it as a footrest. There was no way. Her height was not enough to reach the pool now. Only by using a special bench can she barely reach this height. The father and daughter, one is responsible for washing dishes and the other is responsible for drying them. The division of labor is quite clear. Soon, in less than 10 minutes, the kitchen was cleaned up. The two rested for a while, and seeing that it was almost 6 o'clock, Su Yang prepared to set up a night stall. Originally, I didn't plan to let Nuonuo go today. After all, she has to go to kindergarten tomorrow. But I couldn't resist this little guy's persistence. In the end, the father and daughter had a contest. As Nuonuo happily sat on the electric tricycle and shouted, "Let's go," Su Yang was defeated. I drove an electric tricycle all the way to the food alley opposite the university town to set up a stall. Seeing Su Yang and his classic electric tricycle, the other stall owners were all speechless with grievances. Su Yang, why is he here again? The original food alley has lost its former bustle due to the appearance of Su Yang. Everyone moved their stalls to the entrance of the alley. There's no way. It's Su Yang's fault for liking to set up a stall here. Wherever he sets up his stall, customers from the entire university town will flow there, and that is where the largest customer flow occurs. It can be said that the appearance of Su Yang completely changed the entire food alley. It is a fatal blow to those stalls selling fried noodles. Some of the places selling fried skewers, stinky tofu, or hand-pulled pancakes are okay, although Su Yang took away the original old customers. But because of his reputation, he also attracted countless new customers from afar. Overall, the daily revenue is still about the same, and those who used to sell fried noodles are in trouble. For example, the former king of fried noodles, Master Wang. Today, that classic stall is already empty. He hid far away and went directly to the other end of the food alley to compete with his old friend for the fried vermicelli business. Su Yang had just set up his stall when he suddenly remembered something. He opened his phone and sent a message to the WeChat group. Tonight, at the entrance of the food alley in the university town, the stall is set up at the usual place. Soon, the members who received the group message became excited. Boss Su is setting up his stall, brothers attack. All group members, listen to my orders and go straight to Boss Su's electric tricycle. Oh, are you at the gate of our school? Haha, I must eat the delicious food made by Boss Su today. Here it comes, the little flying stick is coming. Luckily I've been here for a long time. Let me tell you, Boss Su has a new product today. He's selling twice-cooked pork. Looking to buy online, Mr. Su's fried beef noodles can be traded with penguin coins. Su Yang had just put down his phone when a large crowd of people gathered in front of his stall. If I didn't know, I would have thought that Shen Haonan had returned to the underworld and that the Hongxing people were holding a meeting here. Boss Su, I've been waiting for you so long. Everyone, please make way. My roommate only wants to eat a bite of the fried beef noodles made by Boss Su before he dies. Queue up. Do you have any manners? Can't you see I'm one body length ahead of you? Go to the back. The crowd that gathered together soon began to line up spontaneously. This was the tacit rule here at Su Yang. If you want to eat the delicious food made by Boss Su, you naturally have to follow his rules. And the person who made this rule is naturally the little guy Su Inoa. At this moment, she was standing on the electric tricycle with an excited look on her face, waving her pair of tender white hands. She raised her voice and spoke very politely to the people in front of her. Brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, grandpas and aunts, hello. Welcome to my stall. We've prepared a lot of delicious food for you today. I'll tell you something in secret. Nuonuo and I have already tasted all of these delicacies for everyone. They are absolutely delicious. As the little fellow Su Inua spoke, he couldn't help but wipe the uncontrollable drool from the corner of his mouth. She couldn't help but think of the delicious twice-cooked pork she had at noon. How nice it would be if she could have another bite. Chapter 86 on a rainy day. There's a big difference between holding an umbrella and not holding an umbrella. Su Yang's stall has become a fixed place. The other stall owners would not snatch the goods, nor would they dare to do so. If he dares to be clever and occupy the place where Su Yang sets up his stall, will the customers who are waiting here let him go? Even when setting up the stall, they didn't dare to get too close to Su Yang. Of course, there are exceptions. Female college student Yu Youei's stall is still the same, next to Su Yang's. But the thing she sells has also changed from handmade lemon tea to fruit salad. Of course, the price is much cheaper than that sold in general stores. This is also Su Yang's suggestion. There was no way. The mung bean smoothie she made conflicted with the handmade lemon tea she sold. So I can only let her try to sell other things. Fruit scoop is a great idea. After all, no matter how good Su Yang's cooking skills are, no matter how hard he tries to make the food less greasy. But one thing cannot be concealed, whether it is fried beef noodles, crystal cake, or even the new product twice-cooked pork. These are all very greasy foods. At this time, in addition to mung bean paste, fruit salad is also a good choice. As for the handmade lemon tea, Su Yang will have a chance to experience the power of her handmade tea alone. Boss Su, start the fire quickly. I'm the first in line. I want 5 servings of fried beef noodles, 5 cups of green bean shaved ice as well. As for crystal cakes, there's a limit on the number of purchases, right? Then let's just follow the old rules and order 2 boxes. The first guest in line can't wait. When the guests in line behind him heard the menu he announced, their hearts tightened, especially since the guests just arrived and there are already more than 50 people in line. Damn, the competition for Su Yang's stall is too fierce. It's not enough that there were over 50 people lining up right after the opening, but the first person bought so much. 5 servings. Can you eat it? Are you a pig? Will it be sold out again today? These people can only pray silently in their hearts, hoping that the people in front of them in the queue can give them some chance. However, boss, I want the same thing as him. Oh, you have a new dish called twice-cooked pork, right? Give me one to try. The second-place customer ordered more and more. I want some too. I want 3 servings of fried beef noodles, 3 cups of green bean shaved ice, and 1 serving of twice-cooked pork. Oh, and you can't miss the crystal cake. 2 boxes. After the second customer in line finished ordering, the third customer started to order immediately. This made the people queuing behind even more nervous and uneasy, and they couldn't help but speak up. No, brothers in front, can you buy less? There are so many of us. That's right. Don't just think about yourself. Maybe we'll be the ones to line up in front in the future. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. Don't bully me, because I'm at the end of the team. Brother Ming, please understand each other. Faced with the shouting of the customer at the end of the line, some of the customers in the front queue expressed their agreement and reduced the amount of food they had originally planned to order. Others just don't care. Who brought you greedy guys here so late? Don't you know that Boss Su sets up his stall at about this time every day? You want to queue in front of me next time? Dream on. I'm always ranked in the top 10. If there is a VIP, I am definitely the VIP at Boss Su's stall. Su Yang smiled faintly and concentrated on the task at hand. He has seen a lot of mental struggles between these customers in the past 2 days. There is no way he can't control it. Limiting the purchase of crystal cakes is the best balance he can make. After all, who buys doesn't buy. His goal was just to sell out the ingredients prepared in the food truck as quickly as possible. Glancing at Su Ino next to him, the little guy has become addicted to being an official. While holding the Zafubo sign and asking everyone to scan the code, he was actively directing the team. Little brother in blue, please stand straight. The whole team is crooked if you stand like this. Those of you who have already placed an order can just scan the code in my hand, whether it's Zafubo or WeChat. Excuse me, little sister in the pink skirt, can you please stop staring at daddy? It will affect daddy's work. And the little brother with glasses, stop playing with your phone. It's your turn soon. Come up with something quick. Su Inua stood on the dining car, giving orders, looking extremely serious. Just looking at the little girl's chubby face, it is totally inconsistent with her current official behavior. There is no majestic feeling at all on her body, but instead she exudes an extremely cute feeling. Even the people in the queue were amused. Not only did I not feel that Nuonua was strict at all, on the contrary, I just thought it was too much fun. Even the originally long queue has become an interesting thing. It would be great if we could have a girl like this in the future. But we are only freshmen, so what? Don't you know? You get credits for getting married and having kids in college. What you said makes sense. How about we get a room after eating Boss Su's beef noodles tonight? Sure, and today you don't have to. The girl blushed a little and whispered the rest of the words into the boy's ear. Suddenly, the boy also blushed. But it's not because of shyness, but excitement. After all, on a rainy day, there is a big difference between holding an umbrella and not holding an umbrella. I didn't expect that buying delicious food from Boss Sue would have this effect. Tonight looks like it will be an extremely wonderful night of enjoyment. Just when Su Yang's stall was doing a booming business, a luxury car stopped at the university town. This is not a rare thing. After all, any university will have some wealthy people who often drive over. There were both female and male students on the bus. Although the person in the car was not my father or mother, I could still shout out when there was no one around. Therefore, most people are not surprised by this phenomenon. But this time it's different. The person who got out of the limousine was a foreigner. Wearing a suit and tie that looks very expensive, you can tell at first glance that he is not an ordinary person. After he got off the bus, he did not walk towards the school, but went straight to the food alley. To be honest, his suit and tie didn't fit in with the environment of the food stalls and food lane. Such people are more suitable to appear in Michelin restaurants. Grab your knife and fork and taste the so-called top-notch food in this world. But for this foreigner, he was already tired of eating those. He wanted to try the delicious food Su Yang made, especially yesterday. He was originally planning to check out a G International Hotel, but he accidentally discovered authentic Chinese food. Mr. Will, after finding out where Su Yang was setting up his stall, couldn't wait to rush over. He hadn't eaten that crystal pastry for the entire evening. It's driving me crazy. Chapter 87, What's Wrong with Feng Xiaoya? Oh my god, this line is too long. I didn't expect Su Yang's stall to be so exaggerated. The person who got off the taxi, still wearing her professional secretary uniform that she hadn't had time to change into, was none other than Feng Xiaoya. She stood in front of the food alley and was so surprised to see that the line in front of her had already extended all the way here that she could hardly close her mouth. Although it took a lot of effort to find out that Su Yang came here to set up a stall, but there are too many people. There was no way. Although she knew Su Yang, she could only queue up obediently at the back. As she got to the end of the line, several other customers soon followed behind her. Feng Xiaoya secretly said, "That was a close call. If she had been a step slower, wouldn't she have fallen behind by 4 or 5 places?" However, taking a look at the team in front, there were only about 70 or 80 people left. This won't be my turn, right? When she came today, in addition to wanting to buy crystal cake, she also wanted to try Su Yang's fried beef noodles. I had heard Noonyo talking about how delicious Su Yang's fried beef noodles were, so I left work early today and rushed over here. In the end, I was still a step late. Please, it must be my turn. Feng Xiaoya clasped her hands together and prayed silently in her heart. Fortunately, Su Yang was very efficient in placing orders, and the queue moved forward step by step. Soon, Feng Xiaoya smelled the tempting fragrance wafting over from the front. The taste of his fried beef noodles is simply amazing. Even though it's so far away, I still can't help but drool. In particular, in addition to fried beef noodles, there is also the aroma of twice-cooked pork. You know, Feng Xiaoya really likes twice-cooked pork. I didn't expect that Su Yang would actually set up a stall to sell this. What a coincidence. The rich aroma of the twice-cooked pork is so charming that you can't stop eating it. She couldn't wait to eat it right now. But the long queue in front of her forced her to continue to be patient. After wiping the drool from the corner of her mouth, she suddenly heard a familiar voice coming from the front. "Everyone, please line up." Feng Xiaoya was very familiar with this soft and cute voice. I was fighting with this little girl for the crystal cake just 2 days ago. Feng Xiaoya looked up and saw a figure waving his little fleshy hands in front of him. Who else could it be but the little guy Sui Noa? It seems that Nuonyuo really didn't lie to me. She really came out to set up a stall with Su Yang, especially seeing her directing order in an orderly manner and scanning codes to collect money. She looked quite skilled. At the moment, the little guy Nuonyuo was a little tired, and he was sitting on a small stool in the car. He looked so cute. It's just like a little mascot. No wonder Su Yang's business is so good. I'm afraid many people come here for Nuonyuo. Who wouldn't want to cuddle and hug such a cute little guy? In particular, Feng Xiaoya could even see that many customers in front of her took out some snacks from their pockets and handed them to Nuonyuo after scanning the code. There were already a lot of snacks in front of Nuonyuo. Jelly, chocolate, yogurt, walnut snow cakes, lollipops. The variety is very rich. Even some female college students just did it directly. When it was their turn, they went straight up and kissed Nono's chubby little face. While pasting, he took out his mobile phone to take pictures. Nuonyuo didn't have any aversion to this. After all, These sisters were all very nice people. Um, Sister, you have to remember to turn on the beauty filter. Nuonyuo's words made these female college students very happy. This really pissed off the male college student standing by. Is it so easy to please a goddess? Just one sentence made my goddess laugh, so hard that she was shaking with laughter. Am I not as good as a little girl? Seeing the intimate behavior between these female students and Nua, Su-young could only smile helplessly. The little guy is so popular, especially. He actually makes the maternal love of these female college students overflow. This is really outrageous. Little cutie, can I secretly take you away? No, little sister, if you do that, your dad will call the police, uncle. Ha ha ha, then little cutie, could you please not ask your dad to call the police? Su Inua looked at the waha in the girl's hand, tilted his head, and thought for a while, then spoke firmly. No, I'm very busy. I have to help Dad every day. Dad can't live without Nuo now. Nua's words instantly made everyone happy again. The young lady who was talking to her changed her words and spoke. How about this? Sister will help your father with you. Do you mean you want to marry Dad? Nuo said, blinking her big, cute eyes. Well, right? The young lady nodded with a red face and gritted teeth. I originally wanted to tease Nuo, but I didn't expect that she actually understood all this. Sister, do you have a house in the Magic City? Oh, hello. No. Sister, do you have a car? It should be one that looks like a goddess. Neither do I. So, do you have a big hotel chain? Neither do I. Seeing this, Nuo spread his hands, looked helpless, and shook his head. In that case, you can't marry my father. Nuo's words made the young lady so angry that she started to smoke. She originally intended to tease the little guy, but it seemed like she was teased by the little guy instead. Even the people in the queue were surprised and surprised. Don't be fooled by Nuo's young age, but his tone is quite powerful. Villas, Rolls-Royces, hotel chains, even in Shanghai, these things are not available in ordinary families. And the little guy, who looks only 3 or 4 years old, knows all this. Obviously, her biological mother's family was probably quite wealthy. Otherwise, why would she just say these words? It was precisely because of Nua's words that many of the girls who were originally queuing gave up the idea of developing further relationships with Su-young. Men like Su-young who are good-looking and can cook delicious food are very popular. Even though I have a child, the little guy Nono is really the kind that everyone loves. But now we know that Nuo's biological mother is actually so well off, especially since Nuo dared to say so. It meant that at least Su-young and his ex-wife must have parted ways peacefully for some reason. How could they have the conditions that other people had? They all backed out involuntarily. But the rich people nowadays are really stupid. They're like blind. How could Boss Su, such a good man, get divorced? If I were Boss Su's ex-wife, I would stay by his side forever and have him cook delicious food for me every day. You are so beautiful. It's not even your turn. That's right. I also think that Boss Su's ex-wife is really blind. In the crowd, even Feng Xiaoya took advantage of the situation and spoke up. Then he took out his cell phone and sent a message to Qiao Feifei. I heard that Boss Su's ex-wife was a blind monk. Question mark. Qiao Feifei in the office was confused. What was going on with Feng Xiaoya? Chapter 88 Feng Xiaoya. Please answer the phone. Just when Feng Xiaoya was about to take a photo of Nuo at the scene and send it to Qiao Feifei, Su Inua discovered her. Sister Xiaoya, why are you here? Oh, I see. Did you come here just to eat the crystal cakes made by Dad? Nuo blinked her big, watery eyes and looked at Feng Xiaoya. Feng Xiaoya didn't expect that Nuo's eyes were so sharp that he actually recognized her. She smiled and waved to Nuo. Hello, Nono baby. We. Nuo also showed her snow-white teeth. Then she turned to Su-young and said, Dad, look at Sister Xiaoya. Su-young had just finished frying 3 servings of beef noodles. He raised his head and looked at Feng Xiaoya. He was not as surprised as Nuo at Feng Xiaoya's arrival. After all, he had already posted in the WeChat group that he was setting up a stall here. Come and sit here, Su-young said directly. Feng Xiaoya nodded, walked out of the line, and came to Su-young's stall. The other customers were not dissatisfied with Feng Xiaoya's behavior. Instead, they were dissatisfied because Su-young stopped frying beef noodles while talking. Boss Su, you can't stop. Everyone is waiting for your fried beef noodles. Yeah, you guys can chat all you want, but don't stop using your hands. Hearing what the customers in line said, Su-young smiled helplessly. It's okay, Boss Su, you're busy. I can do it myself. Feng Xiaoya expressed her understanding. After all, What Su Yang cooked was indeed delicious. Seeing this, Su Yang didn't say anything else. He just gave the little girl some instructions to entertain Fang Xiaoya and then continued to work on his hands. Come, Sister Xiaoya, sit down. Nuonyuo took out a small stool from the dining car, which was originally prepared by Su Yang for Nuonyuo. There were two in total. Nuonyuo stepped on one, and the other one was naturally given to Fang Xiaoya. Fang Xiaoya did not refuse and sat down with a smile. Nuonyuo quickly took out 2 cups of chilled mung bean smoothie and a box of crystal cake from the foam box on the dining table. When she saw the crystal cake in Nuonyuo's hand, although Fang Xiaoya tried her best to pretend to be calm, she still couldn't help but her eyes lit up. After swallowing the saliva in his throat, Nuonyuo handed over the mung bean shaved ice in his hand. Sister Xiaoya, you haven't had this mung bean smoothie yet, right? Try it, it's delicious. While Nuonyuo handed the mung bean smoothie to Fang Xiaoya, he used a straw to open the cup of mung bean smoothie in his hand. After taking a deep sip, with a look of happiness and satisfaction on her face, Nuonyuo opened the crystal cake and placed it in front of Fang Xiaoya. And this, Sister Xiaoya, is this what you came here for? Nuonyuo, baby, you still understand me. Come, eat with me. Fang Xiaoya admitted it openly. That's right, I came here just because I wanted to eat crystal cake again. I thought I would have to wait in a long line, but I didn't expect to be recognized by Nono when taking a photo. She imitated what Nuonyuo had done just now and inserted the straw into the mung bean smoothie. Then take a sip of the chilled mung bean shaved ice, which melts in your mouth. It is simply wonderful. On a summer night like this, having a sip of mung bean smoothie is so refreshing. Suddenly, an expression of joy and enjoyment appeared on her face. This mung bean smoothie made by Su Yang is just too delicious. It was simply the best thing she had ever tasted in her entire life. Nuonyuo saw the expression on Fang Xiaoya's face and asked even though she knew the answer. How is it, Sister Xiaoya? Is the green bean smoothie my dad made tasty? Uh-huh. Fang Xiaoya took another sip. It was so delicious that she didn't want to say anything. No wonder there are so many people queuing at Su Yang's stall. The taste of this mung bean shaved ice is no worse than crystal cake. By the way, how delicious is Su Yang's fried beef noodles? Just by sitting next to it, you can smell the tempting aroma emanating from the pot. Fang Xiaoya was a little envious of Su Inua. How could she eat such delicious food every day? Here, the little guy Su Inua picked up a piece of the open crystal cake. Sister Xiaoya, come and eat. Dad just made this afternoon. Yeah, okay. Fang Xiaoya also realized that although she couldn't eat Su Yang's fried beef noodles for the time being, she certainly couldn't miss the crystal cake. Pick up the exquisite crystal cake in the box, take a bite, and the soft and glutinous fragrance instantly spreads in your lips. With infinite satisfaction, Fang Xiaoya felt that she was completely enveloped in happiness at this moment. Sure enough, being able to eat is a very happy thing. Fang Xiaoya had a completely new experience for the first time. When I followed Xiao Feifei before, no matter what I ate, I just got it done. But it wasn't until I ate the delicious food Su Yang made that I understood. Being able to eat food is a very enjoyable thing in itself. Nothing can heal yourself better than delicious food, especially since she is a big foodie. Fang Xiaoya ate with relish, and even the customers in the queue cast envious glances at her. Just now, dozens of customers came to line up to buy delicious food from Su Yang. The entire team was forced to line up on the road. The popularity of the scene was comparable to catching a train during the Spring Festival. Fang Xiaoya ate the crystal cake in one bite and drank the mung bean smoothie in another. She felt so comfortable. Aren't days like this too happy? I really wish time would stop at this moment forever. Now Fang Xiaoya has even forgotten her identity, and the only thing on her mind is eating. He didn't even notice the phone in his pocket ringing for a long time. In the hotel office, Xiao Feifei felt more and more strange after receiving Fang Xiaoya's message. Why did Fang Xiaoya suddenly send herself a text message from a female blind monk? What does it mean? Xiao Feifei didn't understand. I finally put down the work at hand and made a phone call home. But Fang Xiaoya on the other end didn't answer at all. This made Xiao Feifei very angry, especially the more the other party refused to answer, the more curious she became. And, judging from the message Fang Xiaoya sent, it seems to be related to Su Yang. Did something happen between these two people? The more Xiao Feifei thought about it, the more depressed she became. She even lost the mood to handle her work. Fang Xiaoya, please answer the phone. Xiao Feifei was a little angry, but after making more than 10 calls, Fang Xiaoya didn't respond at all. Xiao Feifei could only suppress her anger and sent a text message back. Come back to me quickly. Fang Xiaoya. Chapter 89 Sister Xiaoya. That bite of yours is mine. More than an hour later, Fang Xiaoya had been sitting next to Su Yang's stall, doing nothing else but helping out and playing with the little guy. The cup of mung bean shaved ice and the crystal cake had already been eaten up by the two of them. Smelling the aroma of the continuously simmering beef noodles and twice-cooked pork in Su Yang's pot, Fang Xiaoya and Su Yinua's stomachs both started growling. There is no way. It can't be blamed on the two of them for being delicious. It's because the food Su Yang cooked is so tempting. I can't control the glutton in my stomach at all. Su Yang vaguely heard the cries of the two greedy bugs and turned his head to take a look. Fang Xiaoya blushed and waved her hands quickly. Don't bother, Su Yang. Just take care of your business first. Everyone is waiting in line. Fang Xiaoya was not wrong in saying this. I have been stir-frying beef noodles and twice-cooked pork for an hour. But the team in front of him didn't seem to be reduced at all. As soon as we left with our delicious food, satisfied, new customers joined the queue. It's simply an endless supply. Su Yang's business is really too hot. Apart from anything else, Fang Xiaoya has been watching all this. Su Yang has been so busy that he hasn't even had time to drink water from the beginning until now. Boss Su, if you were tired, you can take a rest. It's okay. We can wait a while. You must not get too tired. Boss Su, thank you for your hard work. There were also many customers in the queue who cared about Su Yang. Although they couldn't wait to taste the top-notch delicacies, they were even more worried that Su Yang might collapse from overwork. I guess I won't be able to eat something this delicious for 10 days or half a month. By then, they will have no place to cry. And to be honest, who knows how many days Su Yang can stay in this place. Thanks to his craftsmanship, many internet celebrities have come here to shoot videos recently. I believe that it won't be long before the name Su Yang spreads throughout the country, and it should be known to the entire Demon City. When capital intervenes at that time, it is hard to imagine whether Su Yang can handle it. Besides, with Su Yang's cooking skills, it would be unfair to him to set up a stall on the street. When they thought of this, everyone couldn't help but sigh secretly. But no matter what, everyone who has tasted Su Yang's delicious food still hopes that Su Yang will have a better stage. His craftsmanship is worth it, although maybe no one will be able to eat it in the future. Hearing the concern of the customers in the queue, Su Yang smiled calmly, without any pause in his hand movements. In fact, he wasn't tired at all, and he wasn't even sweating. A body strengthened by the system is like a tireless machine. This is just an hour. Even if he worked for more than 10 hours in a row, Su Yang would not feel tired at all. Besides, some of the customers in the queue may not even know about it. Su Yang not only sets up a stall at night, but also in the morning and afternoon. With such work intensity, how could anyone without a strong body endure it? While everyone was concerned and persuading him, Su Yang fried a portion of beef noodles and twice-cooked pork for Fang Xiaoya and Su Yinua, who were standing beside him. The customers in the queue naturally didn't say anything. After all, they all saw it, not to mention Su Yinua, Su Yang's daughter. From the look in his eyes, you can tell how much he dotes on the little girl. Besides, the little guy himself is very lovable. As for Fang Xiaoya, Su Yang's friend came from far away and helped here for at least half an hour. She only ate a box of crystal cake and a cup of green bean smoothie. Now Su Yang made something delicious for her. It was not too much. Moreover, Su Yang can make 3 servings of fried beef noodles or twice-cooked pork with each pot. The other 2 were also sold to customers in the queue. Could they express any dissatisfaction with Su Yang's arrangement? They even felt that it would be quite reasonable to give all 3 portions to 2 people. Sister Xiaoya, that's great. We have food. Nuonyuo took the fried beef noodles and twice-cooked pork handed to her by Su Yang, and a bright smile suddenly appeared on her little face. When Fang Xiaoya saw this, saliva kept flowing out of the corners of her mouth. In fact, she had been wanting to eat it for a long time and was extremely greedy. But Su Yang's business was so good that she was too embarrassed to take the initiative. Now, seeing 2 plates of delicious food, she quickly took them. This is the flavor of the delicious fried beef noodles. It tempted me for a whole hour tonight. And this twice-cooked pork? Wait and see how I will eat you all up. Fang Xiaoya forced down the saliva secreting from her throat. On the other side, Nuonyuo had already brought 2 pairs of disposable chopsticks. The little guy has already been so greedy. It's fine normally, but today when I was with Sister Xiaoya, I don't know what happened. I was so hungry. It seems that greed can be contagious. Nuonuo handed a pair of chopsticks in his hand to Feng Xiaoya, and then took out 2 cups of mung bean shaved ice from the phone box. Seeing this, Su Yang just smiled and gave a warning. Nunuo, you can only drink one last glass. Otherwise, you will have a stomachache in the middle of the night. I know, Dad. I got another cup for Sister Xiaoya. Su Inuo returned to his original seat with 2 cups of mung bean smoothie, only to see Feng Xiaoya had already picked up the chopsticks and started eating the fried beef noodles. When she saw Su Inuo coming back, her face showed both satisfaction and regret. I'm sorry, Nuonuo. I can't help it smells so good. It's okay, Sister Xiaoya, I understand you. Su Inuo looked like a little brat and continued to speak. I often can't resist the delicious food my dad makes. When Feng Xiaoya heard Nuonuo talking, she laughed out loud. She didn't know who this little guy inherited his cuteness from. Sister Pfeife? She always looks cold and doesn't want anyone to approach her. She's only a little bit normal when she's with me in private. But that's all. Inherited from Su Yang? Feng Xiaoya looked in the direction of Su Yang, who was busy with his hands at this moment. His handsome face looks even more charming under the fireworks. How could there be a man as charming as Su Yang? I still don't understand why Sister Fei became blind at such a young age. She gives up her good husband and daughter and insists on managing a hotel. I don't know how much I have to endure in the hotel the whole day, and I can't sleep well. I really don't know what Sister Fei is trying to do. As Feng Xiaoya thought about it, she still couldn't get the answer, so she could only take a big bite of the fried beef noodles. Sister Xiaoya, that bite of yours is mine. Seeing that Feng Xiaoya couldn't stop at all, Su Inua quickly spoke up to stop her. If she doesn't say anything, Feng Xiaoya will finish the fried beef noodles by herself. Chapter 90, he is Sister Fei's ex-husband. It's so delicious. After eating 2 mouthfuls of noodles, Feng Xiaoya picked up a piece of twice-cooked pork. It is golden in color and exudes an enticing fragrance. You can't help but be moved at just one look. She picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece, and put it in her mouth. Instantly, the taste buds on the tip of your tongue are extremely satisfied. This indescribable deliciousness almost made her feel a little overwhelmed. Fried beef noodles are delicious, and twice-cooked pork is even more delicious. Seeing Feng Xiaoya eating with such happiness on her face, Nuanua also felt full of pride. After all, this was all done by Dad. As the little guy also started to pick up his chopsticks, the two of them took turns to eat, and soon finished the fried beef noodles and twice-cooked pork. On the other side, Su Yang also spoke to the customers in line. I'm sorry, I think we only have enough ingredients for the first 15 customers. Those who are waiting in line behind, you can only come back tomorrow. I'm so sorry. After hearing Su Yang's words, except for the customer ranked 15th who had a relieved expression, the other customers in the queue all showed sad expressions. How long has it been? Less than 2 hours. Su Yang is sold out again. Boss Su, your food is selling out too quickly. The last thing I want to hear now is Boss Su. You said the stuff is sold out. This feeling of loss is exactly the same as when the college entrance examination results were released. I just said a few keywords. Snowy day, telephone booth, and yuan hua. There is no way the food Su Yang brought will eventually run out. The only difference is whether it is your turn or not. As long as the line keeps going, there will always be customers who can't eat anymore. Besides, I'd already made this clear to Su Yang last time. Because he had to take care of his daughter. He hadn't planned to stay for long. What's more, stir-frying beef noodles and twice-cooked pork for 2 hours nonstop is indeed a very tiring task. There was nothing anyone could say about this, and those who didn't buy could only leave with regret. Soon, after Su Yang finished preparing the food ordered by the last 15 customers, he was finally done for the day. With the departure of these people, the entrance of the entire food alley returned to its usual quietness. The stall owners who had originally set up stalls nearby saw Su Yang closing up his stalls and realized they would not be able to make any money, so they began to move their stalls back into the alley. Only Yu Wei began to pack up her stall slowly. Thanks to Su Yang, her fruit salad sells much better than lemonade. And even though the price of this thing is very low, the profit is still very high. She had already been setting up the stall for an hour before Su Yang came. Now she had been doing it for 2 hours with Su Yang, and she had sold out all the products. I never thought that there would be a day when I would have to close my stall early. Yu Yue felt even more grateful to Su Yang in her heart, and Su Yang smiled. Although he didn't say anything, it seemed like he said a lot. Dad, let me help you. The little girl Nono poked her head out. Her stomach was full after eating, But when she saw Su Yang closing the stall, she still took the initiative to step forward. I'm coming too. Fang Xiaoya naturally didn't want to fall behind. After all, you should be grateful when you receive something from others. Today, she tried almost all the delicious food at Su Yang's place. The only thing left to be tasted is the braised pork buns that Su Yang had just put on sale this morning. I heard from the little guy Nono that the braised pork buns are also delicious. In kindergarten, even the teachers like him so much. This made Fang Xiaoya drool again. She couldn't even imagine how delicious the braised pork buns would be just by imagining it. Fang Xiaoya stepped forward and started to help clean up, but Sister Xiaoya, no, this thing shouldn't be placed like this. Unexpectedly, when Fang Xiaoya, who was helping seriously, started working, not to mention Su Yang, even the little guy Nono started to look down on her. There is no way. Even though Fang Xiaoya is Qiao Feifei's secretary, she is also a big lady at home on weekdays. Forget about cleaning. You don't even have to make the quilt when you get up. The servants in the house will clean up everything. Although her family conditions are not as good as Qiao Feifei's, they are not bad in this magic city. After all, she and Qiao Feifei are relatives. When Su Yang saw how clumsy she was, he immediately understood. Just seeing how serious she was in order to save her face, he asked Nuonyuo to take Fang Xiaoya to do some work like collecting benches, folding boxes, and vegetable baskets. Although it is not technically difficult, it at least looks like it is helping. As for Su Yang, he began to clean up seriously. Without Fang Xiaoya's help, he was more efficient alone. In no time, the stall was cleaned up and tidy. Fang Xiaoya also cast a surprised look. This man is simply too outstanding. It would have been nice if I had known him earlier. And he has a lot of energy. Fang Xiaoya's ears turned red, and she instantly realized something was wrong. I couldn't help but secretly resent it in my heart. Fang Xiaoya, what are you thinking about? He is Sister Feifei's husband. Suppressing her inner restlessness, she changed the subject and spoke. I didn't expect your stall business to be so good. Even better than our hotel. I don't want to be so nice. You can see that I can't stop for a moment. Su Yang answered with a faint smile, but to others his words sounded like bragging and Versailles. But in fact, it was exactly what he thought in his heart. If it weren't for the system that enhanced his energy, who could have withstood it? The wok has to be stir-fried at high temperature for 2 or 3 hours continuously. And especially the wok has to be tossed evenly to ensure that every portion of food is perfectly delicious. This is a very difficult task for any chef. TSK, you say that now, but when there are really no customers, you will be anxious, right? Fang Xiaoya stuck out her pink little tongue, smiled playfully, and then said jokingly, Boss Su must have made a lot of money this evening. I was so excited watching from the sidelines. Before Su Yang could answer, Su Inoa at the side couldn't wait to wave his hand and answered. Of course, Sister Xiaoya, my father and I make a lot of money from setting up the stall in one night. Su Inoa spoke very proudly, as if she had made a great contribution to the money earned from setting up the stall. Fang Xiaoya didn't expose him, but just answered with a smile. Yes, you little foodie must be working hard too. Humph, Sister Xiaoya is obviously the biggest foodie. After saying this, Fang Xiaoya and Nuonyuo both laughed at the same time. Both of them are big foodies, so no one should blame the other. Su Yang set up the stall for 2 hours tonight, and they ate for at least an hour. However, according to Fang Xiaoya's estimation, Su Yang's income from setting up the stall for these 2 hours was at least tens of thousands. While she was eating, the news of deposits in a Su Yang's account never stopped coming to Su Yang's phone. Chapter 91 seems to be higher than your salary as chairman. Sister Feifei. In one night, or to be exact, in 2 hours, you can earn tens of thousands. No wonder Su Yang didn't return to work. Fang Xiaoya was also very surprised at first. With Su Yang's academic qualifications, it would not be difficult for him to find a new job. But he chose to set up a stall? Now she finally understood. If I had such skills in business, of course I would choose to set up a stall. After all, although the salaries in big companies are high, they are also competitive enough. A certain company is brightly lit every night. Would you like us to give you a ride? Su Yang looked at Fang Xiaoya and glanced at his electric tricycle with his eyes. The meaning is of course self-evident. Fang Xiaoya was also a little confused. No, Su Yang, isn't your electric three-wheeler a bit overloaded for 3 people? I'd better take a taxi. That's fine. Su Yang nodded indifferently. He was just saying it casually. Fang Xiaoya lives in the north of the city, opposite to where Su Yang lives, so he actually doesn't really want to send her off. Sister Xiaoya, remember to bring a gift for Nuonyo next time you come. Su Inua waved to Feng Xiaoya with a look of reluctance, but more importantly, he wanted Feng Xiaoya to remember to bring a gift. This time, I didn't prepare anything, no cake, chocolate, candy, or anything. Feng Xiaoya smiled and nodded, indicating that she would remember it next time she came. Only then did Su Inua feel contented and followed Su Yang onto the electric tricycle. Looking at Su Yang riding away on his bike, I could even hear Su Inua's soft and cute singing along the way. Thunder means rain, Leo. What? It's raining. Hold an umbrella, Leo. I know this too. Wear a cotton-padded jacket when it's cold, Leo. Leo. Feng Xiaoya didn't look away until Su Yang's electric tricycle disappeared from the corner of the street. Unexpectedly, she was once the same as Xiao Wenshan and his wife. They thought Su Yang had no choice but to take care of the baby while setting up a stall, and that life must be very difficult without Xiao Feifei. But she found out today that it wasn't the case. Su Inua is not only happy following Su Yang, but also lives a good life. There is always endless delicious food to eat every day, especially those delicious foods are made by her favorite father. Tonight, the little girl's smile was even bigger than the day when Xiao Wenshan and his wife took her to the amusement park. Even she was infected without knowing it. It was only 2 hours, but it felt like it went by so quickly. She hadn't felt this happy and relaxed in a long time. Sitting in the taxi, Feng Xiaoya realized that there were more than a dozen missed calls on her mobile phone. Without exception, all of them were calls from Xiao Feifei. Feng Xiaoya was worried that something might have happened, so she called back immediately. Xiao Feifei on the other end of the phone answered quickly, but her tone was very cold, and it was obvious that she was in a very bad mood. Sister Feifei? Feng Xiaoya was planning to try to get close to her, but Xiao Feifei wasn't buying it at all. Tell me, where have you been all night? And what did that message you sent me mean? We? Laughing? What are you laughing at? Explain it to me right now. Xiao Feifei's dissatisfied voice came from the other end of the phone, which made Feng Xiaoya even happier. She's anxious. Anxious, Sister Feifei is actually really anxious. Don't worry, Sister Feifei. I'll send you a photo. Xiao Feifei frowned, not knowing what Feng Xiaoya was doing. Soon a photo was sent on WeChat. The photo showed the scene of customers queuing in the food alley. However, at the front of the line, a very cute little girl was shaking her chubby hands with an expression like that of a little adult. She looked particularly cute. This is Noonyuo. Xiao Feifei recognized her at the first sight. That cute little girl was her biological daughter, Su Ina. Combining the scenes and the photos, it is easy to come to the conclusion. Nono is urging the people in line. As for what everyone was lining up for, it was clear, as only one arm was exposed next to Su Inua. But Xiao Feifei still recognized him. Su Yang? This guy actually brought his precious daughter out to set up a stall. Xiao Feifei was so angry that her teeth itched. After all, she was the general manager of the hotel chain. As a result, my ex-husband actually started doing something like setting up a street stall. Especially, not only did he go alone, but he also brought his daughter along. He is really not afraid of losing face at all. Xiao Feifei was very angry, and Feng Xiaoya added fuel to the fire. Guess what I just ate? The food sold at this stall is really delicious. Xiao Feifei was itching to speak, so she quickly asked on the phone, "What's going on? Why is Nono there?" "You don't know this? Sister Feifei, didn't I ask you out to eat fried beef noodles a few days ago?" Xiao Feifei remembered that Feng Xiaoya had indeed mentioned this matter, but she was not in a good mood that day. "You're not saying that the stall you're talking about is—" "Yes, it's Su Yang's stall." Xiao Feifei was speechless. "You don't know Su Yang's stall is so popular. By the way, have you seen the photos? There are so many people. It's even more lively than our hotel." "Why, Sister Feifei, why aren't you talking? Is the signal bad? By the way, why didn't you tell me before that Su Yang's cooking skills are so good? Look at those female college students lining up. They all look like they want to eat Su Yang up." "Oh, but that's true. After all, Su Yang is now the most famous stall owner there. I heard that you can make tens of thousands of dollars in less than 2 hours at the stall in one night." On the other end of the phone, Xiao Feifei fell silent. But Feng Xiaoya continued to attack verbally. "Tens of thousands. Just setting up the stall for 2 hours. It's much more than my salary. This month's income must be 500,000 or 600,000, right? It seems to be higher than your salary as the chairman, Sister Feifei." Xiao Feifei. Xiao Feifei didn't say anything, but Feng Xiaoya kept talking. She praised Su Yang to the skies, and she had no idea what Xiao Feifei's expression was on the other end of the phone. She just kept talking, until Xiao Feifei hung up the phone on her own initiative. Fang Xiaoyao was sitting in the taxi, with a smile on her face that became even bigger. She spoke to herself. It's not my fault, Sister Feifei. I'm saying this for your own good. If you and Su Yang are resurrected, I will be considered a matchmaker in the future. Even if I eat for free, I will be more justified, right? Besides, with Su Yang's current income, why are you still running this crappy hotel? What's the point of being a general manager? It's not even enough to buy blood pressure medicine. It's so much fun to set up a stall with Su Yang. Chapter 92, System Rewards, New Recipes. At 9:30 in the evening, Su Yang brought the little guy back home. No, look, the little white rabbit toothpaste. Su Yang took out a tube of toothpaste with a cute little white rabbit pattern printed on it. This toothpaste was naturally drawn using food points in a lottery. It can not only clean teeth effectively, but also prevent tooth decay. This is really effective for a little glutton like Nua who loves sweets and eats a lot of sweets every day. Nuo also liked the white rabbit toothpaste in Su Yang's hand. She ran to the bathroom happily, and this time she started brushing her teeth without even needing Su Yang to watch over her. Wow, Dad, it actually tastes like fruit. In the bathroom, Nunoa's surprised voice came out. Su Yang also smiled. It seemed that not all the things extracted from the system were useless. At least Nono likes this toothpaste very much. After a while, the little guy ran out after brushing his teeth. Seeing Su Yang sitting on the sofa, he immediately lay down on him and then breathed towards Su Yang. Dad, this toothpaste smells so good. There was a very obvious fresh fruity scent in the air, which Su Yang also found particularly pleasant. He smiled, then looked at the time. It was almost 10 o'clock. He then asked Nuo to wash his feet. After everything was done, she carried Nuo to her princess bed. Dad, tell me a story. The bedtime story every night is something the little ones look forward to very much. Naturally, Su Yang never refused. He picked up the storybook beside the bed, and before 10 minutes had passed, the little one had fallen asleep. Looking at her sweet smile, Su Yang also felt very happy. Walk out of the room quietly and turn off the light. Su Yang came to the yard and then took a deep breath. The yard is a little cool at night, completely different from the climate during the day. Su Yang looked up at the sky. It was pitch black, and he could hardly see anything. The countryside was not like this more than 20 years ago. At that time, you could see the sky full of stars when you looked up. He still remembers that on the bamboo recliner, his grandfather would tell him the story of Altair and Vega. But he didn't understand at that time. It was clear that the cowherd not only peeped at the weaver girl taking a bath, but also threatened her with her clothes. If this happened in a modern society ruled by law, wouldn't the gigolo be arrested and banned forever? Su Yang shook his head and came back to his memories. He walked into the yard and began to clean the food cart. It took 15 minutes to clean the electric tricycle inside and out. I even used the cleaning agent provided by the system. You know what? This thing is as good as the toothpaste I gave to Nono. Products produced by the system must be high quality. After finishing all this, Su Yang started to wash up. By the time he lay back in bed, it was already 11 o'clock. Although it was time to go to bed, Su Yang still had to use up the chef points he had earned today in the lottery. Lottery! As Su Yang silently recited, the system's message quickly came to his mind. Congratulations, host. You won the Godly Chef System Lottery. Suits. Congratulations, host. You won the Godly Chef System Lottery. A Sunny Doll? Congratulations to the host. You won the Godly Chef System Lottery. Some candies. Congratulations to the host. You won the Godly Chef System Lottery. Traditional gourmet top-quality chicken tofu pudding. As the news about system rewards continued to come into my mind, all the points earned today were completely used up. Not bad, I actually learned a new method to make a dish. Chicken tofu. To be honest, before this, Su Yang didn't have any special knowledge about this dish. I haven't even eaten it. But as the message from the system came, all the information about this top-notch gourmet chicken tofu pudding instantly appeared in his mind. It's actually a state banquet-level dish. A lot of information about chicken tofu pudding flooded into Su Yang's mind. Even the cooking methods and exquisite details are clear. It is no exaggeration to say that Su Yang has gone from knowing nothing about chicken tofu pudding to a state banquet-level chef with decades of experience in cooking chicken tofu pudding. Chicken tofu pudding is one of the 3 traditional dishes of Dazhou in eastern Sichuan. As one of the representative dishes of Sichuan cuisine that is light and mellow, the key is eating chicken without seeing the chicken, and eating meat without seeing the meat. To put it simply, it means making this meat dish into a vegetarian form, which is what they call using meat to support vegetarian dishes. It can be said that the chef's skills are very demanding. It is precisely because of the classic and difficulty of this dish that it is rated as one of the top 10 classic Sichuan dishes. Su Yang plans to give it a try tomorrow. He actually developed a strong interest in this dish. After all, it is a state banquet level dish. Naturally, Su Yang also wants to taste what it tastes like. I slept till the next morning. Thanks to the system, Su Yang's energy has long been restored, and he is extremely full. After getting up and washing up simply, he began to prepare ingredients for the stall in the morning. The main dish for breakfast this morning is naturally the braised pork buns. If you want to pair it with other dishes, mung bean shaved ice is a must. Fried beef noodles is still very popular. As for the crystal cake, Su Yang planned to save it for the afternoon. After everything was ready, it was already 8 o'clock in the morning. Su Yang got on the electric tricycle and prepared to set off, and then he thought about something. He took out his mobile phone from his pocket, then opened the WeChat group and posted an announcement in it. This morning, there was a breakfast stall in front of Huaqiao Primary School, selling braised pork buns, green bean shaved ice, and fried beef noodles. With the release of Su Yang's message, the originally quiet group suddenly exploded again. It was as if Su Yang's words triggered some mysterious mechanism button. Oh, Huaqiao Primary School? What a familiar name. I was the top student in that school back then. Boss Su is still selling breakfast? He is too hardworking. Take care of yourself. Without you, we can't survive. That's right, Boss Su. Please take care of yourself. Shash, shash, shash. Brothers, charge with me and take down the entrance of Huaqiao Primary School. Don't say anything. Even if I'm late today due to taking a detour, I still want to eat the braised pork buns made by Boss Su. Oh, and green bean shaved ice. Boss Su, wait for me. Don't sell out. We'll be at the battlefield in half an hour. All troops attack. Su Yang just took a quick look at the messages in the group and shook his head helplessly. These customers, to be honest, are a little too cute. It's like zombies are traveling. Isn't it just a morning stall? Why do you have to make such a fuss? Even the salary deduction for being late doesn't matter. Su Yang originally wanted to say something in the group, but then he thought better of it. The news in the group is really lively at the moment, especially there are countless applications to join the group outside the group. There are even many girls who directly note themselves with names like Su Yang's girlfriend, Nuonyuo's stepmother, etc. This made Su Yang feel helpless. Chapter 93, As Long as I Don't Get Divorced. You will always be Sanner. Right now, the number of people in the WeChat group has reached more than 450 in less than 2 days. The crowd was about to reach the upper limit of 500. Faced with countless newcomers who still want to get in, we can only review, and review again. If you are not a diehard fan of Su Yang, you can't get in at all. Many people in the group also suggested that we should set up a penguin group. There, you can reach the upper limit of 2,000 people through membership. It is also much easier to manage than WeChat. Su Yang didn't have any objection to this. He would just make one after he finished setting up his stall today. Seeing Su Yang's reply in the WeChat group, a person named Purple Good Mood quickly sent a well-behaved emoticon package. Unexpectedly, Su Yang actually listened to his advice, and he even planned to ask her for help in managing the penguin group. Purple is in a good mood and is naturally very happy. She is none other than Lin Xian, the campus beauty of Jiangning University. Relying on some small tricks, he successfully got into Su Yang's WeChat group, and a bridge of trust has been initially established with Su Yang. It's just around the corner to get Su Yang's personal WeChat signal and penguin account. Lin Xian, who had gone back to the Lin family due to some urgent matters, was looking forward to meeting Su Yang next time. But Xiao Feifei on the other side was not so happy. It's not for anything else. It's because of what happened to Fang Xiaoya last night. In the middle of the night, she couldn't sleep anyway, so she called Fang Xiaoya again. After questioning, she found out that Su Yang not only set up a stall, but also had a WeChat food group. The most important thing is, Fang Xiaoya is still in the group. Xiao Feifei couldn't help herself and asked Fang Xiaoya to add her to the group. Fortunately, Fang Xiaoya and Su Yang have a good relationship and therefore have the authority. Moreover, Xiao Feifei was afraid that Su Yang would recognize her, so she even changed to a small account. When he woke up early in the morning, the small account had successfully entered Su Yang's WeChat group. But when I just arrived at the office and the coffee was not even ready, I saw the message explosion in the group. Su Yang just said that he was going to set up a stall in front of the school, Why was everyone so excited? And that person called Purple Good Mood, why does he have such a weird tone when he speaks? Especially at the end, he even made a cute and obedient expression. There are so many people here. Can you please pay attention? Xiao Feifei clicked on her avatar, and it was an unfamiliar 2D anime girl's avatar. Humph, I don't know where this little girl came from. She has no shame. Xiao Feifei spoke with disdain while taking a sip of coffee. Hot, hot, hot. As a result, the freshly brewed coffee almost burned her into autism. Xiao Feifei suppressed the nameless anger in her heart and took out a tissue to wipe the coffee stains on the table. I was planning to start working seriously as usual, but I couldn't help my curiosity and took another look at the group messages on my phone. The group became more and more lively. Are these people really just customers? Why are the names so outrageous? Boss Sue's picked girlfriend. Sisters, I'm already on my way. I'm gonna take down Boss Sue today. Boss Sue's only official girlfriend. No, sister, have you asked me? I am Boss Sue's only official girlfriend. Boss Sue's fiancé. If you are Boss Sue's girlfriend, then I'll leave. Nono's stepmother. Stop making noise. Baby Nono is still sleeping. Mrs. Sue. Ahem, it's all right. I'll just cough a couple of times in the group to see who can't recognize themselves and is being so presumptuous. Mrs. Sue, remember this. As long as I don't divorce you, you will always be Sanner. Xiao Feifei looked at the nicknames in the group, each one more outrageous and abstract than the last, and felt like her 3 views were shattered. No, could these people be hired by Su Yang? Otherwise, why would he rush to deliver the baby even though he knew Su Yang was bringing his daughter with him? Especially since they all looked so impatient. It's fine that everyone wants to be Su Yang's girlfriend, but there are actually people who want to be Nuonyuo's stepmother? It's simply against the will of heaven. Am I not still alive? Xiao Feifei simply turned off her spare phone. As the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind. I just suppressed the inexplicable irritability in my heart, and when I wanted to devote myself to work, I felt like something was missing. Why hasn't Fang Xiaoya come to work yet? Does she not want to do this job anymore? Xiao Feifei took out her cell phone and sent a message directly to Fang Xiaoya. Where are you? Are you still going to work? Sister Feifei, it's only what time now? Why are you so angry all of a sudden? Stop talking nonsense. I want to ask you, where are you? I'm just about to go out for breakfast. The one in front of Huaqiao Primary School, right? When Fang Xiaoya saw the message sent by Xiao Feifei, she was stunned for a moment. How did she know? I scratched my head, and then I remembered that I had invited Xiao Feifei to join the group last night. Hey, I just happened to be on my way. Isn't this also to take care of Sister Feifei's ex-husband's business? Just on the way? Your home and that elementary school are clearly in 2 different directions. Seeing that her reasons were directly exposed, Fang Xiaoya could only smile awkwardly. Although I don't understand why Xiao Feifei was so angry early in the morning, maybe it was because of the incident at the company hotel. Sister Feifei, don't be angry. I'll bring you some braised pork buns and green bean shaved ice later. How is it, Sister Feifei? Please don't be angry, okay? Just when Fang Xiaoya was still thinking about how to comfort Xiao Feifei's message had already come. Let's try the fried beef noodles. Fang Xiaoya almost laughed out loud when she saw it. As expected, women are creatures who say one thing and mean another. They clearly want something, but always say no. I didn't expect that even Sister Feifei is like this. Got the order? I'll deliver it right away. Sister Feifei, wait for me. I will complete the mission at all costs. In the office, Xiao Feifei was a little amused when she saw the message sent back by Fang Xiaoya. I was just buying breakfast, but you acted like you were doing something big. This Fang Xiaoya is always so inexplicable. Also, it's not that I really want to eat the food made by Su Yang, I just happen to be hungry, so I asked you to buy it. After all, Xiao Feifei had hardly eaten anything since last night. I came to the company early this morning as well, and originally planned to get through the morning with a cup of coffee. Unexpectedly, I saw the message in Su Yang's group. Come to think of it, Su Yang didn't sell that crystal cake this morning. Even Xiao Feifei had to admit that the crystal cake made by Su Yang tasted really good.